Good morning and welcome to a brand new week, a brand new day on the AM show. The familiar face, Benjamin Akakpo, is back and we are your host for the best breakfast show on the block. And we want to tell you what we have lined up for you this morning.
Well, here's what we have lined up. You know how we're going to do it. The news review, courtesy of your very own Sweetie Abochi. And that will also be followed by the news, actually, and then the news review. And then courtesy of Muftar Nabil Abdullahi will bring you sports. But right after that, three gentlemen join us for the news review. We have Osei Kofi Akwa, who is with the CPP's communications team. We have Wisdom Madilo, who is with the NDC's communications team. And then we also have George AEC. He's former communications director of NADMO. All of them will join us for that bell. And then we get into our big stories. What can we expect, Sweetie Abochi?
Well, we take a look at the general state of water quality in the country with a particular focus on the Togo River because we are hearing of pollution. We'll bring you updates and all the details of that. But there's also something happening at Sokode Senior High School. We understand there's some violent clash between the community and the students. So we'll bring you up to date on everything happening. You want to stay with us on the AM show. These and many, many more stories and conversations coming your way in this 4-hour package. You don't want to miss any.
Well, stick and stay with us. Up next, we serve you the news. We'll be right back.
Hello folks, good morning and welcome to the AM News Bulletin on the AM show. Let's start from the Volta region because the Sokode Senior High Technical School in the whole municipality of the Volta region has been closed down indefinitely following a violent clash between students and community members. Now the clash was triggered by a student being beaten down by town folks after he was reported by a colleague, and authorities fearing reprisal have closed down the school indefinitely. Here is the Regional Minister, James Gunu, announcing the closure following meetings with school authorities and community leaders.
Good relationship between the Sokode Bogama community and the school. We are trying to rebuild that relationship. And so far, the situation is under control. We, as Regional Security Council, we have taken a decision which has been communicated duly to the school authorities to temporarily close down the school for us to restore law and order. And then I'm also told the school is supposed to vacate in the next few days. So this will not affect anything so much, but we want the environment for teaching and learning to be peaceful for both the students and the teachers. And we want a situation where the community will see the school as their property so that they will not come and cause any damage. Then the students are also seen as their children.
Education Director Dr. Esther Yebuajiman says her outfit would find a way for the students to write their end of term and WASI exams.
The situation has been calmed down. The military has surrounded the walls because the community were trying to break the wall to have access to the girls' dormitory. So for now, the situation has calmed down, and luckily they said the students should go home. So they'll go and come back and write their end of term examination. And further arrangements will be made for those who will be writing the WASI.
Moving on, High Court Judge Justice Dorinda Smith-Arthur is urging leaders to use their legal expertise for greater good rather than wielding it as a tool to exploit and oppress vulnerable members of society. She entreats aspiring lawyers to uphold fairness and integrity as their guiding principles, cautioning that compromising on ethics undercuts their entire legal system. Now, she expects the next generation of legal professionals to use their expertise to serve for the greater good.
The legal system over the years has been marred with inability to serve deprived societies. High Court Judge Justice Dorinda Smith Arthur, addressing law students at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, cautioned against serving personal interests.
If you compromise on ethics, the entire legal system suffers. Therefore, let fairness and integrity be your guiding principles. If your study of law, in your study of law, know also that the law is not a weapon for the powerful to wage against the weak. The law is a bridge that connects society to justice, that turns chaos into order, and that protects the rights of the vulnerable. As future lawyers, I urge you to be bridge builders, not demolition experts. Don't use the law to serve only your interests, but to elevate the dignity of all.
The High Court judge was addressing the fourth induction and award ceremony of the Faculty of Law at KNUST. The 2024-2025 academic year batch of students admitted to pursue a Bachelor of Laws at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology have been inducted into the Faculty of Law. The induction ceremony will enable them to officially hold themselves as students and begin academic studies toward achieving a bachelor's degree in law. The induction ceremony conducted by the High Court Judge, Justice Mrs. Hannah Taylor, emphasized the duty that comes with the pursuit of legal studies and the law profession. The Vice-Chancellor of KNUST, Professor Rita Akosia-Dixon, congratulated their newly admitted students, urging them to embrace a rigorous academic journey ahead with commitment and resilience. She reaffirmed the university's dedication to providing a conducive environment for academic excellence and holistic professional development.
Please be assured that KNUST is dedicated to ensuring a safe environment for academic excellence and your total development as global professionals, armed with the requisite knowledge to serve humanity. Let me congratulate you for making a very smart decision to join the KNUST Faculty of Law. This is a decision you will never regret.
The Dean of the Faculty of Law, Dr. Chris Adumago-Kwache, guaranteed the inductees that they have made the best choice in selecting KNUST for their legal education. Notably, the faculty represented Ghana in the prestigious Philip J. Jessup International Law Moot Camp competition in Washington, D.C. and has won multiple national and international legal contests. Students who excelled in the previous year's exams were awarded. For Joy News, my name is Clinton Yabo.
Moving on, the University of Education Winneba, in partnership with Hen Mpoano and the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research, Water Research Institute, has launched a project to protect the Greater Amanzule wetland system in the Western region. This initiative seeks to combat environmental degradation, promote biodiversity conservation, and introduce climate-smart alternative ways of livelihood for local communities. Now, this project is expected to enhance climate resilience and support sustainable resource management. Inathalia Kwansa tells us more.
Addressing the gathering, Professor Stephen Jobson Mitchell, Vice-Chancellor of the University of Environment and Sustainable Development, emphasized the academic and scientific contribution needed to sustain the project's impact.
The Greater Amanzule Wetland Complex is not merely a geological feature. It is a living, breathing ecosystem that perfectly illustrates the delicate balance between human development and environmental preservation. The synergy between academic expertise and practical field experience that our partnership brings is unprecedented. This collaboration between the University of Education, Winneba, Hen Mpoano, WRI, and our stakeholders will not only benefit the Greater Amanzule Wetland Complex, but will serve as a blueprint for conservation initiatives across Ghana and West Africa.
Leading the project is Dr. Adams Osman, who outlined the objectives and long-term benefits of the initiative.
And so we believe that Galamsey, which have been one of the crucial dimensions within the Western region and within the wetlands. We are not saying we probably can solve the problem, but we believe that our initiative can help reduce this impact because we are working directly with the community and we are providing livelihood supports. We are also working with the planners and the district assemblies to also design decision support, which gives them the chance to directly get into the landscape.
The project is backed by Yan Mpuano, WRI, the Global Center on Adaptation, DAI, Q, and the UK government, among others. Community engagement remains a crucial part of the project's success. Kofi Agbegbad, director of Yan Mpuano, stressed the need for local participation to ensure the initiative's sustainability.
Yampuano is honored to be an implementing partner of this initiative, the integrated land and water management of the greater Amanzule wetland systems. As an organization, our commitment to coastal and marine conservation, especially within the Nzimamanle traditional area, is not in doubt. At Yempuano, we recognize the need and the importance to integrate science, research, and community participation.
Reporting from Benin, I am Nathalia Kwanzaa for Joy News.
Well, let's go to the Upper West region now because the Member of Parliament for Lambuisi, Professor Titus Bayo, has called on the government to consider opening more PCR diagnostic centers for testing cerebrospinal meningitis. Currently, the region has only one PCR diagnostic machine located in the Upper West Regional Hospital. Professor Bayo noted that decentralizing testing would aid in the fight against the disease by enabling early detection. So far, the Upper West region has recorded 169 suspected cases of CSM, with 27 confirmed cases and 16 deaths. Joy News Upper West regional correspondent Rafiq Salam reports from Lambuisi.
The Lambuisi district recorded 11 suspected cases, 2 confirmed cases, with 1 death. Lambuisi District Director of Health Services, Gunu, deeply concerned about the rise in suspected cases of the disease, made appeal to benevolent organizations and individuals to come to the aid of the district for them to be able to improve the case management of the disease in the district. Member of Parliament for Lambuisi, Professor Titus Bayo, responded to their call and donated medical and non-medical consumables valued at 55,000 Ghana cedis. Items donated included 100 pieces of spinal needles, antibiotics such as ceftriaxone, 40 pieces of thermometer guns, and 8,000 pieces of face masks.
Let me also use this opportunity to appeal to our traditional leaders, our elders, that some of our practices must change around this time. When we have an outbreak like this, it calls for a change in behavior. The burial of the dead, how we organize our funerals, and people absconding from hospitals when a diagnosis has been made will not help us. This is a disease that is contagious. It can move from one person to the other. And so we need to take the advice of the health service around this time.
He urged the people to quickly seek medical treatment at the various health facilities, adding that treatment for the disease is free.
If you have a patient that gets to the hospital and unfortunately passes on and they suspect this is it, please allow the health system to do what they are supposed to do. If they suspect the diagnosis, they need time to take a sample, please, let's do that.
Lambuisi District Director of Health Services, Gunu, whilst thanking Professor Titus Bayo for his kind gesture, pledged to make judicious use of the items donated.
These items that I have received today will be distributed to almost all the health facilities across the district, and much of them will be sent to the case management centers, Lambuisi Polyclinic and then the Hamel Polyclinic, where most of our cases are managed there. I want to assure Honorable Professor that the meningitis situation will be brought to control.
The Lambuisi legislature made a whistle-stop visit to Lambuisi Polyclinic, where he interacted with staff of the facility. Whilst at the polyclinic, he paid a visit to a middle-aged lactating mother who was brought to the facility suspected to have contracted meningitis.
We did the lumbar puncture for her. We sent the sample to Nandom for the screening, but we started the treatment as is indicated. Once we suspect, we need to take sample, then we'll start treatment while waiting for our results.
Reporting for J News, Rafik Salam, Lamuse.
As part of its 5-year strategic plan, the Swedu Senior High School has initiated a partnership with Rifu High School of Japan. The headmistress of Swedu Senior High School, Golda Esiandam, is of the hope that the partnership will foster global competence, cultural exchange, and academic excellence. Abigail Nkrumah shares more details.
In a colorful display of culture, talent, and school spirit, the Swedu Senior High School, popularly known as Swesco, celebrated its partnership with Rifu High School of Japan. Speaking to Joy News during the various activities marking the occasion, Isaac Yawesedu, the president of the African Association of Miyagi and the leader of the Japanese delegation, emphasized the impact of the partnership with the Ghanaian school.
Okay, I studied in Ghana. Of course, Swesco is my alma mater, so I study here. And the basic education between Ghana and Japan is almost the same. You know, from the elementary school to the junior high school, senior high school, and then to the university. The number of years is almost the same thing. So there's not much difference between the educational format right now. Yeah. But I think the only thing I can say is a little bit different is the mode of teaching, you know, and the responses of students. Probably that is the only little thing that I can see.
Golda Esiandam, the headmistress of Swesco, indicated that the partnership with the Japanese school is part of Swesco's 5-year strategic plan, which will enhance global competence.
This initiative is aligned with Swesco's 5-year strategic plan, 2025 to 2029, which prioritizes strategic collaborations and partnerships to enhance global competence, cultural exchange, and academic excellence. Given the strong historical and cultural ties between Ghana and Japan, we believe that a partnership between Swesco and Rifu schools will provide transformative platform for fostering cross-cultural understanding, experimental learning, and institutional development. This partnership presents a unique opportunity to create a lasting legacy of educational innovation, cultural understanding, and international cooperation between Swedu Secondary School and Rifu schools.
The head girl of Swedu Senior High School, Gifty Apia Kubi, shared her excitement about the partnership.
What we are seeing today in Swesco, if all students in other senior high schools would get this opportunity, it would be very good. So I'll say that GES can help in doing this by contributing, as in ensuring that other schools, other senior high schools in Ghana also have exchange programs with other students in outside countries. It could not only be Japan, it could be the USA, it could be Chinese schools, because they are the new curricula, it has languages.
From Swedu, Abigail Nkrumah report for Joy News.
The Center for Language Education and Cooperation and the University of Cape Coast have officially opened a Chinese language teacher training center at UCC to boost Chinese language education across West Africa. This initiative aims to address the growing demand for Chinese language instruction in West Africa by equipping local educators with the necessary skill to teach effectively. Officials say the center will bridge the gap between rising interest in the language and the shortage of qualified teachers. Central Regional Correspondent Eric Asante has more from Cape Coast.
Center, located at the University of Cape Coast, aims to address the growing demand for Chinese language education across West Africa. Speaking at the opening ceremony, Professor Wu Yame, China Director, Confucius Institute, highlighted the significance of the training center.
Importance of this training center, I have to tell you something. as far as I know, this training center is #1 first for training center for local teachers, local Chinese teachers around the world. This is #1, yes. And actually, they demanding for local Chinese teachers not only in Ghana, but also in West Africa and the whole Africa, even the whole world. So another significance of this training center is that we take a leading for training local Chinese teachers, yes, and also from a smaller point of view, we can provide a more opportunity for those young people and even those teachers who used to be other teachers. Well, through this, they can become Chinese teachers, local Chinese teachers.
The Pro Vice Chancellor of the University of Cape Coast, Professor Dennis Aheto, described the center as a significant milestone for education and cultural exchange in the region.
We are happy as a university to partner with the Chinese government under the auspices of the Confucius Institute to establish this regional training center for training of teachers, local teachers in the Chinese language. We are extremely excited because UCC has the platform to be able to promote this cultural and international exchange between the government of China through the Confucius Institute and our university. We are extremely happy about this feat. We continue to be a beacon of hope for the country in terms of the training of teachers in various fields. And we are happy that through this initiative, a lot more of our young people, and by extension, teachers and other professionals, will be training the Chinese language to support our internationalization agenda for the university and by extension also for the country.
With this new center, Ghana is set to play a key role in training Chinese language teachers for West African region. This is according to Professor Emmanuel Amu Ofori, the Ghana Director for Confucius Institute.
Ministry of Education of the People's Republic of China and the Ministry of Education of Ghana. So very soon, you will see that Chinese language will be taught in our basic school across the country. Everyone is going to the West. China is a trade partner in terms of our economy. You know, learning the Chinese language opens a lot of opportunities for even students and even lecturers.
That takes us into our business update now with Benjamin Akakpo.
Welcome to business. Now, in the major story we have for you this morning, the president of the Ghana Association of Restructuring and Insolvency Advisors, Felix Addo, has maintained that it might be difficult for government to restore the licenses of defunct commercial banks. This follows a push by some of the owners of these banks making fresh appeals for their licenses to be restored. But speaking to Joy Business, Mr. Addo maintained that there were reputational and trust issues they had to address before exploring this feasibility.
Banks operate on reputation, on trust, and good faith. And so that will be the very first challenge for these institutions. Because for a bank to keep doing business, the investing or depositing public should have faith in its ability, its resilience, its going concern status to year in, year out be there so that they can do business with it. Now, if for whatever reason there is any blemish to their reputation, to its stability, that creates a challenge for not only the perception, the reality of it, because many a time the perceptions generate into realities. Okay. So that is the first issue. If today these licenses are restored, what the ordinary reasonable person would do, okay, depositor, is to go into the bank and as quickly as possible pull out all his deposits in the bank. And trust me, the average reasonable person will not be going back to deposit or do business with this organization for a long time to come. Okay? That's the first thing.
Let's settle now for our currency market updates. And that's it for business updates this morning. Handing over back to Sweetie Abochi.
Thank you, Ben, for bringing us business updates. And it's a wrap for the AM News Bulletin on the AM Show. Coming up next is the news review. Our guests will join us shortly and the conversations get started. Please stay with us. Well, thank you for staying with us for the AM Show. Time now for us to review the newspapers. In studio now, my guests join me. George Ayisi is former Director of Communications for NADMO. Wanda Madilo is from the NDC Communications team. Gentlemen, welcome to the program.
Yeah, thank you.
It's Monday. There's a lot of stories that made it to the airwaves. I don't know what your take will be, but you have 2 minutes each to reflect on any topical issue of your choice. I want to start with you, Mr. Madilo.
Well, I've seen that the Bureau of National Investigations, now NIB, have gone after some former appointees. We just hope that the right thing is done and done properly. We do not think that people should go scot-free when the state loses in their dealings. And so we would appeal to the NIB to do due diligence and do what is right in the interest of the state. I've also seen that the SkyTrain deal has come up, and I'm very excited about that one in particular, because this is at least for no work done. The others may go to some audit to arrive at the final determination of the matter. But that of the SkyTrain, we've been told several stories in the past about what actually went on. And so it will be good for Ghanaians to know exactly what transpired over that transaction. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. George Ayisi.
Yeah, good morning to you. Good morning to my colleague, Wanda, and good morning to our viewers. Mine has got to do with the shutting down of radio stations. Know, I understand some 7 radio stations have been shut down. Yes, and the minority leader has raised issues with it. And I've heard some people also thinking it's a deliberate ploy to gag some people within certain communities, because that is the radio stations that champion the voice of their opposition. And so if they are gagged, they wouldn't be able to push whatever agenda. But I'm not solely enthused by that, because when some were shut down, including Radio Gold and others, I said, there were some obligations that they ought to meet as radio stations and co. And so if they were not paying those things or making those commitments, it is incumbent on them to be brought to book, okay, and to face the law. And so if that is the same reasons for which these ones are also being shut down, then I got no problem with that. But if this otherwise, I think if you're using radio frequencies, and there's a term that I'm trying to get, it's not coming, then you ought to make those commitments, okay? Like you have operations, you're operating a business, and you're not paying your taxes and other things. It's not right. So if you're operating your radio stations and there's financial obligations, renewal of license and others, you need to meet those commitments so that we can have a free operation. There's a free media that nobody is contesting that, but you need to be responsible as well, and then dutiful to your responsibilities in the nation.
Okay. Thank you for sharing your thoughts with us. Let's jump straight into the newspapers because it's as thick as it comes. I'll start with the Daily Graphic. On the front page, President shifts gears in Galamsey fight. Excavator seizure replaces burning. And I listened to him. He said, don't burn down these excavators. Instead, you should seize them. But we have history of excavators being seized in this country that went missing. So I don't know how differently they're approaching this, and I don't know if it inspires confidence in the Ghanaian that this time round, when these excavators are seized, they would actually be used as evidence to prosecute these illegal miners. Decade of irregularities in public institutions, 99.757 billion Ghana cedis lost to state. That's interesting. Let's start from there. Public institutions, including state-owned enterprises, corporations, ministries, departments, and agencies, have committed significant financial infractions to the tune of 99.57 billion Ghana cedis in the last decade. And the infractions consist of outstanding debts and recoverable loans amounting to, well, it's a lot of numbers, but to think that we've lost 99.57 billion Ghana cedis to irregularities in public institutions. The first case that comes to my mind is this NSS saga, which has now become a legal tussle between who's right and who's not doing the right thing. But when you really follow the story, it seems deliberate that these IDs were planted in there just so that you can sieve monies out. But let me get your thoughts on this. Let's start from this. How does this make you feel?
Yeah, 99.57 billion lost. You see, we all part to blame, sweetie, because year in, year out, the Auditor General's report comes out, Public Accounts Committee sits on it, individuals are hauled before it to explain it, and reasons are due for why those things happen.
But we make it a national...
yes, sometimes it gets to see that somebody was a bit reckless, somebody didn't follow up on certain monies disbursed and other things. And yet, when they finish the media issue, we all go to sleep. You get it? And this for 10 years. It means if we're, recovering some of this. At the last sitting of the PAC, I was excited because the chairman, Honorable Aveji, had said people who were to return certain monies and had not brought it, there ought to be follow-ups. In fact, he was insisting on certain actions and and I was very excited. But was it going to be a 9-day wonder, or we are going to insist and persist that these recoveries are done? And if they are not done, what are the other legal consequences there is to people who are found culpable? It's time we begin to punish people who misappropriate or misapply state revenue, state resources that otherwise would have been used to dig a borehole in my local community. You get it?
Do you think this is something Oral should pick up?
Oh, well, no, these ones is the Auditor General's report.
Yeah,
you get it. And we have you get, because
but
Oral,
can trace that.
Yes, Oral, the initial thing, once they establish that there's a wrongdoing and then if you listen to Domilevo, there ought to be some auditing. This one, the auditing has been done. And so we know the culprits, okay? So let's move on to prosecution stage so that people, it will serve as a deterrent. We cannot be, this is a huge, how much did we go to the World Bank for? IMF for. You get a 99 billion in 10 years, it's gone. This would have, and how much are we even spending on free SHS over the last 7-8 years? You get it. So it's about time we begin to be frugal and prudent in our national use of state resources by people tasked with the responsibility to look at it. And then there ought to be punitive measures to deter others from, repeating some of these things.
I'm just wondering if there's no internal strategy we can adopt to actually prevent these irregularities.
There are internal auditors.
But wonder, what did you make of it?
I think there are internal measures.
How effective are they?
The measures are themselves, statute or standards that people must apply themselves to. And people always find ways to go around standards, in order that it's not enforced. You see, last year, the BOG itself reported that they alone lost about 60.8 billion. You are talking about 90-something billion. BOG alone is 60-point-something billion. Last year, the Auditor General's report said that we lost 12 billion. So add that to it, you're already 70-something billion. And then you talk about, in the previous year, we lost about 4.6 billion in tax exemptions. So by the time you put
the BOG wasn't a loss. It was a deliberate state move act.
No, they themselves
that incurred the losses.
They are losses.
Well,
I'm not talking about the money is printed. What was printed is just 20 billion, another 20 billion. This has to do with forest losses.
Yes.
A lot of forest losses, impairment, loan impairment, and all that. It's still a loss. I mean, if I give you a loan and you're unable to pay, I didn't do due diligence, it's still a loss to the business. So indeed, we are at a very critical stage of our country, and we need to be investigating some of these things and bringing a closure to them. And also have systems robust enough to curtail some of these, gerrymandering when it comes to financial operations and all that. If you look at what is happening at NPA, for instance, about 1.3 billion. And the figures never come in even in millions any longer. I remember the very first time when our revered Chatuchikata's case went to court under President Kufuor. It was less than a million. And we made a lot of noise about it. Today, we don't even talk about millions, we're talking about billions, So it is scary, it is worrying, and our development partners are watching. The reason for which Ghana no longer has a very favorable image when it comes to borrowing at the international level is because of some of these things. You go to IMF to borrow to get 3 billion facility, and 3 billion is only today equal to about 45 billion, and you are losing already 90-something billion. It doesn't make sense. And nobody wants to put money in a leaking basket or in a leaking container. So for us as a government, we think that it's about time that we put in systems robust enough to curtail some of these things. It's also about time that we show leadership. And what do I mean by leadership? Some of these ambitious projects we do that really don't have direct impact on the economy, we need to seize them. For instance, if I was government and I'm putting money into something, I will be putting money in things like the expansion of the harbor, expansion of the airports, expansion of our business, environment, and then the roads, and then electricity and all that. I won't go have business going to all this frivolous, stuff about doling out money to individuals and all that. That amounts to nothing. Today we hear Maslow is talking about recovery of loans and all that. What is happening? Because loans have been given to individuals that never came back.
So are we saying that this money is gone? There's no way we can recover even, a fraction of it? 99.57 billion Ghana cedi lost to the state, and we're just talking about this.
No, I do know that government is on a project of its own. For instance, the arrest I talked about before we started. Government is on a project of its own to recover some of this money. Indeed, we may not be able to recover all, because some of them were misappropriations. If it's embezzlement, you can be talking about recovery. Some were misappropriation, some were misdirected, some were also
loans, recoverables, loans, and the rest.
So there are some that can be recovered. Some may not be able to recover because actually it's an investment.
Right.
So indeed, there are challenges that would have to be resolved along those lines.
But before we proceed, the MPA matter, we are yet to get into the intricacies of it. Because as of the time the OSP was having the presser, no letter, no notice had been given to the chief executive. He wasn't even aware. Some friends called him that this is what the OSP is saying. So I've not been, and I've said that as director of communications, I've signed for some monies, for certain things to be done. But those monies I signed for, I didn't expend them.
One that you disagree?
No, let me finish.
Okay,
let me finish. Yes. I did not expend them. I signed for my subordinates to go do some work. And so you see that George had signed for this. But if you were to call me, I'll tell you, ask 1, 2, 3 to give you the explanation. And the last one is the NSS. So I've heard the other side, the accused people also come in to have a press release that, the things they are talking about, they've not actually done the due diligence to know. They said the National Service has about 2 different cohorts for the nurses, and then an additional cohort for teachers that are not posted at the same time as all the National Service people. And so if you don't factor them, those were the ones, according to them, that are being considered as ghost names and co. And so if the details were to be gone in, the Fourth Estate did those investigations and co, and they are making their point that the Fourth Estate didn't understand the processes. And of course, it's done, payments and co are done by giftness. The postings list is different from those that are paid, because when you're posted, a lot of people don't even accept postings.
Can they
so those are those are their release.
Index
so
numbers
let them
that
go
don't
in.
make sense.
Yes,
that come from universities that are saying that we don't know anything about these. Can they explain the differences between the numbers of people they announce to Parliament
the numbers that are posted, the numbers that are posted are completely different from the numbers that are taking stipends.
Right.
Yeah, there's an internal audit system before. So you can post 1,000 people, but actually you are paying about 600 people because 400 didn't accept postings. Okay, so they need to get into that's been the argument.
So well, I get that you're saying that's their argument,
yes,
but we also have questions they need to answer.
Of course.
Let me speak this particular one before we go to
NPA.
So on the NSS stuff, I think he himself is in a hurry to defend his people.
No, I'm telling you what
he says that's their argument.
Yes,
it's a counter argument towards the media.
They've made a repressor.
It's just like the free SHS thing when they told us that about 5.7 billion, 5.7 million people were beneficiaries.
Yes.
We came into government only to find out that about only 3.something million people. And they themselves are now beginning to explain that, the difference in the figure is because of something, whatever. Please, don't be caught in some of these issues. These issues are very delicate. You don't doubt.
There's nothing delicate.
You don't doubt the credibility of the OSP in investigating such a matter. In such a very...
Is the OSP investigating NSS?
No, the president directed that a thorough investigation.
Yes.
No, Oral?
Oral is handling the OSP.
No, it's
not NSS.
It's not Oral.
That's where they've submitted.
I thought it was BNI.
It's not Oral. The president has directed that it should be investigated.
Yes.
The finance ministry has referred the matter to the Attorney General's department. Investigations will be done, and eventually we'll get to the bottom of this issue.
Yes.
But the issues of... index numbers too. Can you explain that? Now they tell us that in terms of hold on. They tell us that in terms of the cohort, on the
nurses and midwifery.
Nurses and midwifery. This is something you should look at. Now the posting of the normal, tertiary guys come on in October, and then the nurses I think somewhere around February or April. So in a particular year, for instance, you can only get a full number from April when the nurses and all the others join them to October. We're talking about a yearly figure. Nobody is talking to us about just one cohort of the other. So please be.
No, they are saying
the other question
not factored the cohorts in.
Right, and that's okay. But you see, it doesn't end there. We've seen photos of 99-year-old men with names that don't match with index numbers from places.
It's just those ones are different. So people have also responded.
I'm just saying that
the MPA thing, I think you are beating more than you can chew. On the MPA thing, the OSP was very categorical. He mentioned the name of Jacob Amwa, who was in charge of the UPPF, margins and all that stuff. Jacob Amwa, as we speak, is on interdiction. So he should be abreast with himself on this matter. In any case, Hamid says that he has done what? He has.
But I mean, it is his argument to make if he says he didn't get any official notice.
But if he's the one in focus, they will bring him to book. Investigations are such that...
It's one thing saying that we issued something, and it's another thing if the person who is meant for received it. I'm just saying that there's that argument he can make.
That's what I'm saying.
The whole nation went after Hamid.
No, it's not true.
It's true.
That's not true. It is one thing making an allegation and then beginning to investigate. When you start to investigate, normally you go to the bottom. And then the names start coming up. I got this instruction from this person. This one says, I got this instruction. Cabinet gave me the instruction. Then you follow up in that order. As we speak, internally in MPA, a lot of things are going on. A lot of things are going on. A lot of investigations are going on. That's how come they have been able to take it from that level. If Hamid says, I issued a letter, and you issued a letter, you issued a letter, the letter was, carried out by somebody. The one who carried out the instruction is the one we take first. Then he tells us how he got his, permission to do what he did. So it is not a very simple matter for us to be running around. 1.3 billion is a lot of money. Please. It's a lot of money.
Just for media razzmatazz.
When issues first pop up, people try to...
making progress, then you
Well, I think there are two sides of it. When issues first pop up, one side is like, we need to understand what's going on. The other is saying, well, it's nothing. And then you dig, and you get shocked about some of the irregularities, some of the things that really go on behind closed doors.
You must account. There must be accountability.
Remember how the whole nation celebrated SML for, saving the country some money, and then when we dug into the details of it, it turns out that
I still disagree with
let's make progress. So the president shifts gears in Galamsey fight. Excavator seizure replaces burning. Let me just get a bit of the story out there and I'll come to you. President John Dramani Mahama has announced a shift in the government's approach to combating illegal mining, also known as Galamsey. Instead of burning excavators seized from illegal mining sites, President Mahama has instructed the task force to confiscate the equipment. Quote, I've told them not to burn the excavators, they should confiscate them, President Mahama is saying. And this is a new strategy they're using so that they can use the excavators to trace whoever owns them, use this as evidence to prosecute them. Wanda, what did you make of it?
I think it was the height.
When we started, I asked a question about how we have history of excavators getting missing miraculously, and so add that too.
I think that it was the height of, what do I say, ineptitude for the previous government to be burning excavators. Because, you see, excavators themselves are very expensive. There are a lot of road projects in this country that need tools, or what you call machinery. The military does need it. The police does need it. And many other institutions of state, you know, our engineering services department does need some of those equipment. It beats my mind to understand that you see an equipment worth over $100,000, which is 1.something million today, right? 1 point something, right?
About
1 point something, 1.6, $1.5 million, and then you burn it with petrol, 5 cedis petrol or 10 cedis petrol. It makes no sense. And I think that one of the things they should have done.
Does it really make no sense?
It makes no sense.
I'm thinking that they can.
You know why
it's a loss to them, right?
No,
whoever owns these excavators, they're causing harm to the nation, the country. They're killing us, and so when you find them, you burn it so they can also feel some loss.
No. You see, the mistake we make in some of these things is that
Yeah.
any equipment you see in this country usually adds up to our GDP. Okay, that's Ghana money sent abroad to buy an equipment for a purpose. So you confiscate, you burn it. What you are doing is that you are putting your hard-earned currency that should have been within the economy to work. You are wasting it. So what you do is that for such an equipment, you can actually auction them. You can actually sell them.
So that the owners can buy it again?
Hold on. But you are stopping what they are doing. It is not the excavators that's making them do what they are doing. How do the excavators come in? They come into the port in the first place. Then there are countries around us that need excavators. Can we not export them to Togo, to Cote d'Ivoire, to all the other places? Can we not make money out of this? Can we also not give it to the military that does road construction in this country? They have an engineering services department that does road construction and all that. The bridge on which the young girl was crossing with the brother carrying her, it's the military that's going to fix that bridge. So indeed, we have used for them some of this equipment. What we do not want is what happened under the MPP, where they parked excavators in Adenta, and overnight over 500 and something of them were missing. That's where our problem is. So seizing it is the best option. Keep them in a safe location. Use them as evidence for prosecution. After that, you can auction them. After all, the cars that come through the port that people are not able to pay are auctioned to Ghanaians.
So you're confident this new strategy will work?
So this new strategy will work because then you have a pool and a stock. Some of those can be put to use. Those in good shape can be put to use. Those that can be exported abroad or sold abroad to neighboring countries can be sold. And the country does not lose in the end. Now listen to this. You seize all these excavators, you burn them, and then you ask the people to go back and fill up the places with what equipment? So you give them your own equipment again to go back to go and fill up the trenches that were done. So for me, I think it's a more prudent approach to resolving the crisis. The next leg of that is to be sure that some of these excavators that are already in the bushes and all that are still not, being used. We should be able to stop them from coming in the first place at the port. And then after that, when you go on the field and you get them, do the right thing.
Let me hear what George has to say about this.
Sweetie, we are likely to be going in circus. The issue of not burning them down. Initially, when the burning issue, actually, Hans Sol or so, mining, you want to miss this thing. Under President Mahama's excavators were burned. You get it. Initially, I was not happy. But later, when I got the meaning, the reasoning for that, I thought, okay, because what we are talking about...
What meaning did you get from
it? It's to deter the people from taking them.
So it's of some consequence to
the
illegal mining.
Yes, because, look, as we speak, there's been issues that when Frimpong Boateng's matters came up, people were saying, these people seized these excavators. We don't know where it's been parked. And you know what was happening? There was later this thing that people took them. Those who seized it gave it out to some other people who took it back to
You know that it's strange that excavators are such huge equipment.
Yes,
Definitely
yes.
somebody saw something,
Yes,
but you make your point.
You get it. And so if that happens, you've seized it. Look, as he just said, aviation, go there. A lot of excavators are there. You get it. So, yes. So what is happening? You've got a pool, you've seized them and cool, but people are clandestinely giving them away to friends back to the bush to go and do mining, illegal mining.
That's
you get it. So this is the reason why they decided they were going to be banning and all that. If the president has decided he's not going to ban them, then there ought to be a strict, proper process of inventory taking. You get it? And then the military guarding the base where you are keeping them. Otherwise, because even these ones, you know, when they seize them, they send them to the district assembly or the police command. You get in the districts and go. And yet, if they find their way back to the bush. You get it? So please, you let me finish, please. You note it down. Yeah, thank you. So these are the worrying signals. Are we ready to clamp down on Galamsey? If we are, then we need to put in proper measures to, you know, discourage these things. Because as we speak, there's a field day for people in the area. There's report that the Ankobra is being seriously polluted again. You get it? It's like the president is taking his foot
in fact,
off
they
the pedal.
arrested some 7 foreign nationals and 8 Ghanaians.
So I think I'm happy the president has commented on these things. It tells you he's sending the signal that he's coming to, you know, continue with the fight. And we need to continue with it. Otherwise, as we speak, is it the Western North area? That's a chief who is fighting with some NDC officials because they think they have invaded the forest and they are doing what they like because they think their party is the government. You get it? So this fight is a serious, multiple-pronged canker that we all need to tackle. And I'm happy the president, I remember last time we came here, we made the issues that the president has not actually made it a priority. But so far, I'm happy he's made comment on it. And I pray that in his State of the Nation address, he will touch on it. And then action will be rolled out to ensure. But they're not banning them and co. Let's find a proper way to handle it. Otherwise, they'll find their ways back to the forest to do the illegal things.
So, 2 more stories. Right. Make this brief.
It's inaccurate to say that the Ankobra is being polluted.
Yesterday,
but it is.
The arrest of the people. Yes, they did
available, right? Yes.
They were arrested. I'm saying
they were.
No, it doesn't mean it's not
polluted. No, for you to say that it's being polluted
seriously
as before and it's so bad, that's not true.
It's true.
It is the task force job to arrest.
Are you saying that the Ankobra River is not being polluted?
Again?
So let's step down.
Oh, so it's about again?
Yes, recent times.
It's still the same activity. It's still illegal miners who are washing the...
If I have 20 illegal miners on the riverbank, it's not the same as having one. So the arrest is ongoing.
No,
hold on.
Okay, wait, let's hear him out. Let's hear him out. Wonder, make your point.
The task force is going on. There are several people involved in the Galamsey chain.
My brother.
What we need to do is to, clear them out of the system. Again, he talks about the burning of excavators and he didn't like it and all that. He likes that or whatever.
Initially, I didn't, and then later I got it.
Does it make sense, quote unquote, that the government goes about burning excavators? 2 years down the line, you sent so much money to the District Assembly Common Fund to buy the drip machines. How much did we spend to buy the drip
construction? That's different.
Come on, please.
Sweetie, he's endorsing illegal arms in the system. That's what I'm saying.
No,
so if people bring illegal arms, they seize them, they ban them. You are saying they use money to buy them. That's what you are saying.
I think he's talking about retooling.
This is doing damage to the nation. And last one. This environment. Oh, you finished and I'm continuing. The environment.
I'll give you time.
They are money bags. They can easily corrupt people. Those operating in the illegal mining area. It's a big money bag industry. Okay? So please, let's be careful how we handle them.
All right, that's it for you on that topic.
And the state must be strong and ruthless on these
matters. We'll move on.
I'll
give you the last word, Wanda. Make it brief. So
he's got a third bite.
Oh, so my point is clear that it doesn't make sense for in one breath to burn the excavators.
Yeah.
In another breath, you are still spending so much money abroad to go and buy the drip machines. When some of them can be used. So
Okay. We can agree to disagree. Okay, let's move on. So, you know, there are some things, gentlemen, Wonder. Okay, so government should not entirely fund. Oh, come on, let's do this. Government should not entirely fund education. Stakeholders at National Education Forum are saying. And let me add just one more story from the Daily Graphic and we move on. Democracy remains best form of governance for Africa, according to former President Akufo-Addo. Former President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo has said multi-party democracy remains the best form of governance for Africa. Speaking at the launch of a former Nigerian leader, yes, General Ibrahim Bangdade's autobiography in Abuja, that's Nigeria, on Thursday, he made these statements. Quote, I feel a deep sense of disappointment that military coup d'etats have come back in fashion in our region. And he goes on and on about how democracy is the best form of governance for Africa. And the stakeholders at the National Education Forum are saying that government should not entirely fund education. Apart from GET-Fund, there should be other sources of funding education in the country. Just these two stories from the Daily Graphic, and then we move on to other papers. Wanda, let me start with you.
I have always been a fan of an advocate for partnership in education.
Right.
I went to Presec Legon, and those days, back in the days, I kept saying that the Presbyterian Church was very supportive, and because they saw it as a platform to train their own leaders, they paid attention to discipline, to morality, to the educational itself or academics itself. And today it's a shining example. Look at all the mission schools, the Holy Charles, the Wesley Girls, the Presec, the Prempeh College. All of them seems to have a certain, findings around, their products and all that. I think that it should be a partnership. I've always also advocated that give the schools back to the missions because they are better managers of education than the states. The state now is encumbered by many financial obligations and it's difficult now to run all these schools as well as you can. So hand over the best schools that you took over from the missions back to them, and so they can invest more in some of those areas, support them. You can pay for their teachers, like we use what we call the GIMPA model, where government is allowing GIMPA to be self-sustainable and all that. So once that is done, you can have the level of education in terms of quality, in terms of access, in terms of even their shaping, moral shaping, academic shaping, corporate shaping, professional shaping, a bit more jagged up than it is today. Then you can focus on the less endowed ones that you are bringing up, like the community-based schools and the removal of schools under trees. You can focus directly on some of those ones and bring them apart. Today we have schools being labeled grade A, grade B, grade C, and all that. And who should go to the grade C? Who should go to the grade 1? Grade A. It's difficult to understand that a government by itself will want to grade some higher than others when you're supposed to put all of them apart so we can have some level of equality or remove inequality from the system when it comes to education. And again, when these things are done and done properly, government will have less budget to spend on education and focus more on
talking about budgets. That's our biggest. The biggest budget goes into education sector.
Exactly.
Yet some of the problems that plague the sectors, it looks so basic. Like
it looks so basic,
classrooms, like tables for students to sit, tables and chairs for students to sit on, like feeding, the kind of food they eat. The biggest budget goes into the education sector. So I guess it makes sense that stakeholders would say that government should find other sources to fund our education. But George.
Yeah, thank you. I think this guy levies 0.5% on diaspora remittances to fund SHS. I think it's a good beginning to support government revenue. The previous government had also said revenue from the Jubilee fields is going to be the primary source of funding for that. My brother, from what he was saying, but he ended up dismantling what I thought he was saying. I thought he was trying to talk about...
How do you know what he was saying? If he didn't
because I was listening to him. Okay, so I just wrote class systems. Okay, that's what he's talking about. If
the way we categorize the schools, right?
No. Before he came there, he was talking about, okay, give it to the missions, let them fund it, pay their teachers and others. What that means is that the schools are going to be taxed with the responsibility of, increasing the fees and other things. And he said he's been in Presec. I've been in Infanspem School, and these are prestigious institutions and co. Now, the people who come there, if you say they are to, fund the schools, the missions are to fund them, what it means is that if you want to go to Wesley Girls or Infanspem or Presec or Prempeh College and others, St. Augustine's, then you must be ready to make certain payments. That's what I mean by the class.
Let me give you some context.
Yes.
So the stakeholders were of the view that government funding for education should be channeled exclusively into tuition, payment of salaries, and infrastructure development, while parents pay for school uniforms, feeding, examination fees, and other necessities.
No, like you see, I am all for the secondary free education at the second cycle level, secondary stage. Because look, I've been citing this example severally. I was in the classroom one time at the Infanspem School, big school. And, sometimes when the CMB scholarship is delayed, the BESA moves round and they ask the students on CMB scholarship to go home, get their fees from their parents, come and pay, and then they will be credited when the money comes. Okay? Sweetie, the people who were asked to leave my class, I was shocked.
The numbers?
No. The caliber of people. Okay? Whose parents, class, and some of them I can swear with my bottom penny that they've never seen a cocoa tree before. They were on CMB scholarship. I was shocked. I said, what?
Are you shocked? Have you seen the way our scholarship schemes are?
No. So I said, how can these people be on CMB scholarship?
Yeah.
You get it? Because it's targeted for certain people. And now it's being abused. So the targeted people will not benefit from it. Okay? Then of what use will it be? So I agree that there should be other sources of funding, but I do not agree that parents should pay. Look, I said this boy came, but for free SHS, he wouldn't have gotten a place like Infant. He came, his parents were living, and I tell you, 50 cedis was what they left for him, which will include feeding and then TNT back to the Hafuano Southwest area, okay, to Cape Coast, from Ashanti to Cape Coast. Then I look at it and say, what in God's name, how in God's name would this boy have been able to come to this school? You get it? So please, there are challenges, these small payments. That's why government was against PTA and co. Even under Professor Mills Muhammad time, I was a PTA executive. They were not too comfortable with allowing the schools to impose levies on PTAs. You get it? And so these are issues that we need to be looking at. If you bring fee issue, no matter how small it is, it can stop some people from going to school, okay, at the secondary level. We, as a state, we've made the decision that we want every Ghanaian child to access a minimum of secondary education.
But it looks like it's costing the country too much.
That's why we need to look at this fantastic suggestion from this person. You get it? There may be other suggestions that we need to look at. And then we should use the monies for the purpose for which. You get it? That is like we are taking a lot of the cost items too much. I have friends that would tell me, look, George, what business do you people have in paying for feeding for the students? And I said, look, if we don't do it, that Osafo Mafu who came from Awisa to Achimota School, if he were not given boarding, who was he going to stay with in Accra?
Government won't sell ECG.
Well, let's look at that.
That's what the minister is saying. So the Minister of Energy and Green Transition, John Abdullahi Jinapor, stated that the government has no intention of selling the electricity power distributor, ECG. Rather, what the government wants to do is to make the power distribution company more efficient by bringing on board the private sector in billing collection and management of some aspects of the company. But PUW opposes this, and they've reiterated their opposition to any form of privatization or diversification of the ECG. And the opposition was rooted in concerns about the potential consequences of private control over the electricity sector. What's the argument? Which argument are you siding with? The government wants to privatize some parts, right, in terms of revenue collection, which is one of our big problems. And some people are opposing to this. Public Utility Workers Union say that there's some danger there. Do you see the danger, George? Because so far, it looks like if everyone is actually paying for the amount of electricity they're using, maybe we're not even being get.
I think we need the private sector participation, not wholly, as the Honorable Minister is saying. They are not selling it, no. The assets, you know, like PDS, we use the assets as a guarantee for, you know, the private sector to come and then help bring efficiency to some aspect of ECG, particularly revenue collection. And that is the issue. This cash waterfall mechanism, fantastic. But the amount of money that is brought in before it's distributed is not enough. You get it? So how do we bring efficiency to bear? PDS was a success story, unfortunately, but for the fraudulent issues that, you know, were involved, it would have been the way forward. You get it? Because they were able to mobilize a lot of money at the beginning till we had those challenges and we had to abandon ship. Going forward, they should be meticulous and careful about the engagement, the people that will be involved, and then what roles they need to play. Because we need to raise the whole issue of doom saw and all the challenges is funding. Bottom line, funding.
But I think they're also concerned that if we privatize revenue collection, it might become too expensive for the average Ghanaian to pay.
No.
Because, in fact, they are trying to protect the public. They think electricity, water, these should be public, you know,
they are public.
Control.
You get it? No. So, no. What you collect, you take commission on that. How? You are not going to be in charge of the billing. You get it? The company does this. Now, yours is to help us collect and then check, audit illegal connections and all those things. Because the private company, the amount you collect, you take commission on that. So they work hard to collect more, to get more commission. You get it? And so that will bring efficiency to bear. They are not going to do the billing and other things. Okay, the ECG is in charge of that, but these are the bills. Go. Now, identify illegal connections and co. Look, you remember we need to carefully look at that. So I think there's a committee that has been put in place to work with the minister to ensure that. Because we had, you remember Ghana Water, there was a privatization angle. And so far, I don't think it's been a successful story. You get a PDS, a botch. And now let's take those two as case study to guide us to get this one right.
Wanda?
I think that it's not entirely a new approach.
Yeah.
The Public Utility Workers Union are just being mischievous.
Oh, they are.
Their concerns not
currently,
justified.
as we speak, is the ECG app for ECG. Is Haptel not the one running the show? So what is it? Where have they been sleeping all this while? Where have they suddenly gotten up to know that revenue collection by a private, player is an error? ECG's problem is not only in revenue generation; it's also in management. The revenue, the losses that they make, it's not only about the revenue collection. Yes, indeed, we agree that the revenue collection is key, but the investment in the sector is also lost. People apply for ECG meters, it takes forever to get it. But street lights are not working in our area. Meanwhile, we are being charged for street lights every now and then. There are areas that need electrification, rural electrification, that won't happen.
Illegal
and all that. So illegal connections and all that. They bring in meters that are faulty and all that. And then, so the problems are myriad. And I think that what the minister wants to do is to bring efficiency. It is not only about the revenue collection, but also about how they manage their resources, the very little they have, how they manage it, how they distribute it and all that. And don't forget, their job is distribution. It is for the VRS and co, the power producers to produce. Gridco makes it available, and then they are supposed to distribute.
Yeah.
The distribution is where the problem is right now. And we think that going forward, if we can do that as quickly as possible, it will be fine. We have also NEDCO at the Northern Enclave and all that. All of those people will have to come on board, and let's see how much revenue we can actually glean from some of these things. Again, also some of the losses are not entirely ECG's losses. It's actually a monetary policy thing, fiscal policy, monetary policy, convergence.
Exchange
that
rates.
also exchange rate is also playing a lot of difficulty for them. So I think that the cash waterfall mechanism, the only problem that it had was that whilst monies were being made available, ECG on its own was doing their own skirmishes, and we don't even see the figures going directly to the producers and all that.
Right.
So indeed, we can get over this.
I've been told our time is up, but let's get into the headlines.
And they were not giving any quota. You collect all and give.
George, headlines from your paper, please. Just the headlines from your paper.
Oh, okay.
We have to go.
Okay,
yeah.
thank you. Funding educational infrastructure. We must not rely solely on GetFund, Administrator. Mr. Paul Ajay, Administrator, GetFund. President Mahama holds talks with Deputy UK Prime Minister Sao Tome President. GIS, Ghana Immigration Service, intercepts cocoa concealed in 1,115 gallons. This I don't understand this one. I don't understand it. Then levy 0.5% on diaspora remittances to fund SHS.
I know you want to get a bite at the cocoa thing, but time will not allow us. What stories do you have?
NIV on rampage.
Okay.
Goes after MPP bigwigs. SML sues Manasseh for defamation. Demands
they do,
$21 million damages.
I think I support
it won't go anywhere. 1.3 billion MPA in embezzlement or hawks. We'll live to see how that turns out. Nilante Vanderpool heads Ekufado's drip. And then VRA ladies, retirees pledge support for new acting CEO.
Well, gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. That's all that time will allow. The custodian newspaper, Minority puts Mahama on notice. VRA ladies and retirees pledge for support for Obin Kenzo, and NIB chases NPP gurus. All these stories. You can pick one for yourself and get into it. Thank you for joining us. Those who joined the conversation this morning, George Ayisi is former director of communications.
There's some fair tactics here.
Wanda Madilo is NDC communications team. They join us. Thank you so much. Please stay. Muftan Abil Abdullah is FCAM Sports.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to AM Sports here with me, Muftau Nabila Abdullah. We are building up to the next round of the FIFA World Cup qualifiers 2026. And the Black Stars of Ghana will be in action against Chad at the Accra Sports Stadium in March. Well, in the last qualifying series, which saw the Black Stars fail to qualify to the African Cup of Nations 2025, many questioned the commitment of the senior national team players. Well, a former player of the team, Sam Johnson, says that if the players know that they will get injured while playing for the national team and the country will not take care of them, then they should retire from the team instead of honoring invitations and not giving up their all.
Everybody. Because me, like I was telling you, me personally, I really, because I know what they can do.
If you are the coach,
they don't do that. They don't do what we know they do best. They don't show that to us when they come here. And what kills me is sometimes I hear that maybe somebody say, then when people are saying, oh, if they get injured, who is going to be master? Excuse me to say, but that is nonsense. Because if this is your job, that is what you choose to do. You either do it or you leave it.
Or you don't do it at all.
So if you know you are coming to get injured, then the Ghana will not take care of you. Master, don't come at all. Resign from the national team. But when you come, you can't just come and play this and then use our art to play. If somebody is in the office and is also doing things like that, those who are saying those things, if somebody also is in the office and they don't do the right thing, can you talk about it?
No. No.
So
you will not even have the moral right to talk about it.
You understand me? If you are here to play, play. If you know you get injured and Ghana will not take care of you, or what Ghana will give you is not enough, you are going to take a big money. Master, stay and take your big money. Nobody will fight you. And allow those who want to play to play.
Now, we take you to the Accra Sports Stadium to take a look at the current state of the facility as Ghana gets ready to host Chad next month.
A little under a year ago, I was here to show you the state of the playing surface here at the Accra Sports Stadium. We showed you the washrooms as well and the other facilities inside the Accra Sports Stadium. Back then, it was getting ready for the Accra 2023 African Games. And so we're all concerned. But quite a bit has happened since then. The facility had to go through a fallow period following the conclusion of the AFCON 2025 qualifiers. This facility hosted the last of those games when the Black Stars failed to win at home and lost at home to Niger by the odd goal in 3. Since the AFCON qualifiers concluded in November, the stadium has been closed down. In the months that followed, Green Grass Technology began working on the playing surface with one objective: getting it ready for the World Cup qualifiers in March. When they started work, there were no indications that the Accra Sports Stadium would host Ghana's World Cup qualifier against Chad. But quite a bit has changed since then. The improved nature of the grass and the enormity of the task required to improve the Cape Coast Stadium to meet CAF and FIFA standards.
One of these major issues is the quality or the height of the fence, and it's allowed easier access even onto the pitch. And you remember that was the stadium that first witnessed pitch invasion during a Black Stars game in 2019 November. The fence has not been changed, neither has the inner perimeter. And even if the pitch were to be in better condition, I struggle to see how Ghana could get CAF to still approve this stadium to host a Black Stars game.
Sources have told Joy Sports that the Black Stars prefer the less stressful atmosphere in Cape Coast to the pressure cooker environment at the Accra Sports Stadium. Ultimately, however, it will come down to which facility meets CAF's requirements for the qualifiers. And at the moment, the playing surface is in a better condition than Cape Coast. While other adjoining facilities at the stadium need work, the feeling is that the Accra Sports Stadium will check all the boxes to host Chad next month.
Now we go to Morocco, where the Black Queens of Ghana suffered a late defeat against the Moroccans in an international friendly. Despite the defeat, head coach of the team, King Lars, says that he is proud of the girls.
This is the worst feeling you can have as a coach and as a player when you work hard for almost the whole game. You deserve at least a draw result. You have the chances to actually win, and then you have a little bit unlucky in the end. The ball bouncing in their direction, and they score when there's almost nothing left. So I'm really proud of the girl. They worked hard. There haven't been so many trainings together, actually just one full training. The focus has been like to work as a group and a little bit more with the defense, to be well organized when it comes to like defense set pieces and things like that, and they did an amazing job. So yeah, just a little bit unlucky in the end, but overall I'm happy with the girls. I mean, I think it's great. Of course, we knew it's going to be tough today, but with, like I said, like only like one really full training with all of the players, and me as a new coach, of course it's tough, but also really good and fun for us to see that we have the potential to play against a good team, away game, and already now we are in the same level as them. I mean, they have been with the same coach for 1.5 years or something like that. I have just been for a couple of trainings. So I think like the future is so bright, and we're just going to keep working hard. We're going to learn from this game. It was a really good game for us, and we're going to make sure that we are prepared for the summer.
Now, let's take a look at the highlights of the FA Cup match involving Accra Hearts of Oak and Golden Cake. That game took place at the Legon Sports Stadium, where the Phobians were eliminated from the competition.
Well, there's Rafael Aponsa. Oh, steps are fast to take it. The man in there sits Jesse. Oh, you can hear it scream from all over the stadium. But can Rafael Aponsa open up the folks scoring account against Kofi Saba? Rafael Aponsa, and the first one is in. Penalty shootout. Let's see what becomes of it, and it's saved by Benjamin Asari. Saved the first one to facial expression from him. But Kofi Saba has got a big task to perform here. Boite, and it's saved. I've just told you, not the best of facial expression, and you can see it. And it's the man in the 30, Abdullah Zakaria, against Benjamin Asari, and he scores it. Beautiful. We'll talk about him. Samuel Amufa. Oh my goodness, that is a long hit. And it's wasted. A typical defender. Again, it's always not been that kind of expressions or belief or confidence, you see, written on the faces of your star players. And he scores it. That's Benton. Golden Cakes jump into the lead. Who's here to take it? But again, psychologically, it's not been the best official expression. He comes here, scores it. Looks to be blessed again. Who's going for it? That will be very hard working throughout the game. Bet again, and he scores it. Buries it into the roof of the net.
And it was Golden Cakes that won the penalty shootout to make it to the last 8 of the FA Cup. But the game involving Kumasi Asante Kotoko and Secondary 11 was. All other fixtures in the round of 16 happened. Let's take a look at the results of the matches that were played. And Golden Cake, as you can see there, they won their penalty shootout 4-3 against Accra House of Oak. Midiama FC were also at home, and they lost to PAC Academy, and they lost 4-2 on penalties. Brekum Chelsea won their game 4-1 against Northern City. Corolla United also won 1-0 against Young Apostles. Techiman Liberty came up against Bechim United, and it was Bechim that won via penalty shootout 4-3. And True Democracy and their game against FC Nania also ended 1-1. And it was True Democracy that made it to the next round of the FA Cup after they won the penalty shootout. So there are as many as 3 lower tier teams that have made it to the last 8 of the FA Cup. And as you can see, Golden Cakes are in the PAC Academy as well as True Democracy. They are all into the last 8 of the FA Cup. Kumasi Asante Kotoko will also be coming up against Secondary 11 Wives. That game, we cannot tell when it is going to happen because Kotoko serves. They are not willing to play any competitive football until justice is served for its late fan, Nana Pole. So Atram Devicer, they also came against Bibiano Gold Stars, and that game was on Friday. So there are about 4 lower tier teams that are in the last 8 of the FA Cup. Now,
welcome back. This is the AM show, and we kickstart matters by conversing about STEM education with a focus on girls. And joining me in the studio, I have here Catherine Gregory. She's a mechanical engineer. She's here joining the conversation. She's going to elaborate on why we have this project. And we also have Francis Sam, his principal of the Santa Maria School. Both of them joined the conversation. Ladies, gentlemen, good morning.
Good morning.
It's good to have you, Catherine. It's good to have you, Francis. Girls in STEM education, it's interesting because there's been a lot of talk about STEM and how globally women, the component is a bit low. And here in Ghana, it's none too different. But let me start with you, Francis, on this bit. Why girls in STEM education? Why the concept?
We have the belief that the world in the next 5-10 years will be changing. Therefore, as a school, we need to have a partnership that will help our kids have that idea, that mindset, so that going forward, they will not be struggling in that changing world. So that is the idea behind it.
So you're preparing the future leaders.
Thank you very much. That is where we are now.
I see. And when did this start at Santa Maria?
Excuse me. We started it about 4 years ago. But this time around, we have these friends from the UK coming in to help us do it practically for the children to just have it in mind. And then also the few ones who are yet to take decision on their future steps, will just put themselves together and then join the line.
I see.
Yeah.
Now, once you mentioned the UK, enter Catherine. Catherine, okay, so you're a mechanical engineer. Even before we get into why you're aboard this project, just tell us a bit about what you do as a mechanical engineer.
I test aircraft seats. So I work for a company that makes seats for business class seats and first class seats for aircraft.
Wow.
And I get to do things like crash testing and lots and lots of paperwork as well, but the crash testing's quite the fun bit.
And people sometimes don't realize just how technical these little bits are, because if you do your work well, then we also stay safe when we fly, right?
Definitely, yes.
Great stuff. I just wanted you to do that so that young women watching as well will take some inspiration from what you do. But tell us about why you're partnering on this project.
Well, we have a friend at work who was from Ghana, Sono, and actually, unfortunately, she couldn't come with us because she just started a new job in the UK, so she changed company. But because we always do little activities with the schools in the UK, she asked us if we would do something in Ghana.
And you agreed?
We agreed, yes.
How important is it you can juxtapose the UK environment academically and professionally to the Ghanaian environment? How important is STEM education to girls?
It's very important because certainly in the UK there's only about 10% of women in engineering jobs.
10%? Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
That's quite a gap, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. And I think sometimes girls are they need a little bit of encouragement just to do the technical stuff. And
they definitely do. I know Professor Elsie Kaufman, who heads the engineering department at the University of Ghana. Usually the National Science and Math quiz, she comes through from the latter stages. She's, I believe, the first female head of that department. And look at how long the University of Ghana has been in existence. First female to head that. So it tells you there's a paucity of women going into those areas, seem to be hard areas that are reserved for men. But let me come back to you, Francis, which also brings to mind the curiosity of starting children at this level. So what ages are you starting them at?
At the moment, we are trying grade 4 to the upper grade stage, JHS.
Okay.
Yes, that's where.
So that's averagely what age?
Averagely 12, 16.
12, 16,
12, 16, yeah.
And you're getting their interest in science, technology, engineering, mathematics.
Yeah.
What has it been like so far with this partnership? What has it been like?
So far, it's been very positive. We've had most of our learners having more of different thinking when it comes to STEM. You know, those days, they were used to, it's difficult, it's this, it's that. But giving them the practical orientation of the whole thing has really oriented them, and now they are following suit. Yeah.
There are two people I know, one of them on Facebook, and she went into the study of mathematics, for example, and now I believe she attended Cambridge or one of those places, and she's a mathematician. There's another one who is also making mathematics sexy, as they say it, you know, in Ghana, and she won a global award recently. I think a one of those marathons and all of that. She's a Ghanaian, so there's definitely no barrier to say that, oh, women can't do this, because they can. And in fact, they excel in that. I would want to find out, though, from you, Catherine, in the end, coming to Ghana, collaborating with, you know, Santa Maria and all of that, what is the end game? What do you see? What's the future that you hope to see?
Well, I hope to inspire the girls and the boys as well, just to get to know engineering and just to try out some of the concepts. And we're going to do educational games with them so they can try things like building a tower and building bridges and things. And
Speaking of building bridges and stuff, my own father, when he was alive, was a civil engineer and architect. So these are things I actually have an interest in, though that's not my area of expertise. And for you, Francis, so in the end, you're targeting these young ones and all that. What is the end game? What are you hoping to see in the next year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years? What are you hoping to see?
So as a school, through these initiatives, we want to bring out, groom, nurture, and produce more of engineers and problem solvers.
Okay.
Yes.
You know why that's crucial, Catherine? Because there's a paucity of those. You know, every nation develops partly based on engineering, you know, acumen and practicality, how it's brought to bear. Even as we talk about the economy and shaping it and all that, we would need the engineers in there. We would need the science-oriented people to be able to take off. So it's interesting that you have this project. And now that you're in Ghana, for how long are you going to be here? What are you going to be doing apart from what you've already told us? And just give us a brief idea of what we shall see you doing within the next few days or week.
Well, with my two friends who are with me, so there's Grace and there's Punita, who are also with me from the UK.
Okay.
We're going to talk to the children about how we became interested in engineering, and give them a brief overview of our careers, and then encourage them to have some fun with the games. And so that it's just for this week.
Okay.
And then at the weekend we'll do some sightseeing and.
I'm sure you're looking forward to that.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, the sightseeing you must do. But what has your experience been like so far in Ghana?
It's been really, really lovely because Sono, she couldn't come with us, but her mum's been looking after us, and Mr. Francis has been looking after us as well.
I see.
So,
well, maybe at the tail end of this, I'll find out from Francis what your favorite Ghanaian food has been so far. I'll not pin you to that for now.
That's fufu.
I tried fufu last night.
You did?
Yeah.
How did you find it?
I found that the chili was a little bit hot, but it was really nice. It was like some of the dumplings we have at home. And,
Indeed. I knew dumplings would come to mind, but that's interesting. Francis, so you have them in your care, so to speak, and you're initiating this. What can we look forward to in the course of this week? And what can the students also look forward to? And then you can just add up a bit about SAMIX. And then
okay. Thank you very much. We are going to start the project from tomorrow to Friday. Yes, and then it will be purely practically based lesson.
Practical?
We just purely practical. It will not be more of theoretical, grammar. No, we're just going to put the items there for the kids to experiment under their guidance. Yes, so, and like you added, we are located in Tema Community 25.
Okay.
We've been around for over a decade now, and with a very good, rich history. Our examination records for the past 10 years has been very good. I must say 100%. So we are a very good school that you can trust us with your kids. We do inclusive learning with the learners being at the center of the whole thing. So that is Santa Maria Laika Class School. Thank you very much.
All right. And you're encouraged to take your children, your wards there as well, so they can get a feel of what Santa Maria International School has on offer. Any final words, Catherine?
I would just say to all the girls out there, give it a go. Just maybe study the maths a little bit more and try engineering, because it's really interesting. You'll enjoy it, and it pays well.
I like the end.
Yeah.
She added, it's interesting and all of that, encouraging you. And she added, it pays well. So you're preparing yourself for the global market there.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you very much for joining us, ladies and gentlemen. Catherine Gregory is a mechanical engineer. She's from the UK. She joined the conversation, and they are here partnering with the Santa Maria School in Tema Community 25, and representing them was Francis Sam, who joined us in the studio. It's all about girls in STEM education. Well, stick and stay with us. When we return, we'll have an interaction on the Togo end of the Volta River, that spillage that happened, the agrochemicals, and what the situation is on the ground. We'll have the regional minister, among others, to interact with. You want to stay for that conversation. Up next. Welcome back on the AM show. We delve into our big stories now. And kickstarting matters, we head to the Volta region where there's been that spillage. And of course, it has created quite a situation in the Agotime, Ziope and Adaklo districts of the Volta region. This morning, we're going to have an interaction with Jones Gunu, who is the regional minister, on the state of affairs there. And we'll also look at the situation in respect of the Sokode Senior Technical High School. But let me say a very good morning to you, sir. Mr. Gunu, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
We're grateful that you've taken the time to join us this morning. As regional minister, what is the update you have for us so far in respect of this spillage of agrochemicals, the turbidity level of the water body in that regard? What is the latest?
Yeah. Thank you very much. Let me say good morning to your viewers and say that in actual fact, when the Regional Coordinating Council got wind of this information quickly, we informed some state agencies who are responsible for this kind of situation. We contacted the Community Water and Sanitation Agency, the Food and Drugs Authority, the Environmental Protection Authority, the Fisheries Commission, and I got a briefing from the Community Water and Sanitation Agency that they have not so far, detected any pollution. And I've also got a report from the Fisheries Commission that after they have done their field assessment, stakeholder engagement, site observation, and sample collection, they've observed the following, that no mass fish mortality was detected at the time of their assessment. Also, the fish exhibited normal activities, that is to say that no visible sign of distress. So the report, according to the Fisheries Commission, they've also not detected any odor, unusual odor from the river. So this is where we have gotten to so far. I'm yet to get a report from the Environmental Protection Authority and then the Food and Drugs Authority. So according to the Fisheries Commission report that I've received, they have concluded that preliminary observations suggest no immediate threat to aquatic life, and then went further to state that laboratory analysis will determine whether agrochemical residues are present. So recommendation is that everything must be based on scientific analysis and finding. So far, this is what we've gotten from the Fisheries Commission, and I think when other state agencies brings their report, then we'll know the way forward. In the meantime, what we did was to provide water tankers for the communities such as Agotime areas, those who rely on water from the River Togi for domestic use. Actually, we have also done some public education to that effect to ensure that we do not have any crisis on our hands.
Right.
So far, I think the report we are getting point to the fact that there is no significant pollution caused by the agrochemicals that were deposited in the water as a result of the accident that occurred in the Republic of Togo.
Right. Now, if you look at what we know so far, you've spoken about the Fisheries Commission giving you these details that the fish are not stressed, so to speak. They're exhibiting normal behavior and all that, and that there's no immediate threat. But I was going back to the same point you just made. Was there any impact? Because these are agrochemicals. Is there any toxicity in that portion of the water body that you know of? Or is it that once they are not seeing any such signs, then everything is good to go?
I think once they are not seeing any such signs, it means that they need to go further to do some micro kind of scientific analysis to see or to arrive at any result that will prove that this particular pollution or suspected pollution has any effect or may have any effect on the life of human beings. So we wait for other bodies such as the Environmental Protection Agencies, Authority, and the Food and Drugs Authority. And as I indicated earlier, for the community water and sanitation agencies, they have come out to indicate clearly that they've not detected any pollution to the river Togo.
Right. So I know that, like you said, these entities are going to go further into the minutiae of the analysis to ensure that at the micro level it is safe. But for fisher folk on that stretch, and I'm not just talking about Togi, I'm talking about the entire stretch, is that to say the fish is still safe for consumption, or is there a cessation to fishing for now?
Yeah, since the experts have done all that they are expected to do, they did some stakeholder engagement as well. They have taken samples to their laboratory for tests. They have done some detailed observation on the field, and they took samples of the fish in the river, and they have come out with this report. We are trusting that the water body and the fish in the water are safe for now, unless there is another report that proves otherwise. We, as Regional Coordinating Council, will rely on these authorities for the determination of the way that will go. But in the meantime, these are the facts that we have so far, coming from the Fisheries Commission and the Community Water and Sanitation Agencies. I'm yet to get that of the Food and Drugs Authority and the Environmental Protection Authority.
Okay, so COAS has given some sort of stamp of approval, at least for levels of safety, and the Fisheries Commission as well. Does that mean, because I know that some townships, villages along the stretch use the water from some of these water bodies for their daily activities. Is it safe for those activities as well?
Yes, that is what we want to believe for now. You know, that
Mr. Gunu, is it what you believe?
Water,
just clarify for me, Mr. Gunu. Is it what you believe or what you want to believe?
The Community Water and Sanitation Agency, they use the water, they pump it and treat the water before distribution to the community. And if they are they are taking the water, they need to know the quality of the water in order to determine the level of treatment that they can give to the water before the final distribution to the public.
Right.
So that is the source of water for the Community Water and Sanitation Agency within the agrochemical district and its environment. So they have gone in to say that they've not identified any pollution so far. The water that they treat and distribute is safe for human consumption.
Right.
But if you go to the lakeside, they use it for washing, they use it for irrigation purposes and others. Those ones, you know, are the things that we wanted to be sure that if you are using that water for other domestic use without it being treated, if it will have any effect on the farming activities or for domestic use. So we are advising the people that they should use a treated water given by the Community Water and Sanitation Agency. But since they are saying there is no pollution identified so far, if you are using it for irrigation purposes, there is also no unusual odor, whereby if you are using the water, you inhale a chemical that can have effect on life. We are saying that, okay, let's look at other reports that may come from the Environmental Protection Authority, the Food and Drugs Authority. Then we can finally conclude that the water is safe, even if not treated, as they used to, some of the people use to, you know, use it for their activities. But for now, what the Fisheries Commission is telling us is what we are relying on.
I see. And that was the exact point I was about to get to, that how about those who don't use the treated water that COAS is pumping into the system? There may be those who take it directly and use it for farming activity, which means that if it's polluted, maybe the plants or crops could be polluted as well. So
for such people who advise that they wait.
Okay.
They wait, they shouldn't consume the water, you know, in a raw state. No.
Okay.
They should rely on the Community Water and Sanitation Agency's water, treated water.
Right,
and
but has there been education to that effect?
That is not working. Come again.
Mr. Gunu, I'm trying to find out, has there been education of the communities to that effect, that they shouldn't use the water in its raw form, they should only use that has been treated by COAS?
Exactly. The education is currently ongoing. We are sensitizing communities that use the water and individuals who use the water in its raw state, that they should not until all the information are gathered. Then we can give them the go-ahead, because we have also provided alternative means of water for those who cannot get the Community Water and Sanitation Agencies treated water. We started with water tankers for them. The Honorable Member of Parliament for Agotime, Ziopi, Honorable Charles Agbeve, requested for water tankers. We provided, and that has gone on for some time now.
I see. So what you're basically saying is that in the immediate term, there is no threat of major pollution as far as the Togo end of the Volta River is concerned. So communities like you've mentioned, Agotim, Eziope, Adaklu, and Toji are practically safe when it comes to this situation, right?
According to the reports that we've received so far.
When are you expecting to get the reports from the Environmental Protection Agency, the FDA, among others? You say their reports have not come through yet. When are you hoping, in your interactions with them, when are you hoping to hear from them?
Before the end of this week, all other state agencies that we have notified and they are working on this would have come out with their final reports.
Beyond the EPA and the FDA, which other agencies are you awaiting reports from? Mr. James Gunu, can you hear me? It appears there's a bit of a connectivity issue with Mr. James Gunu. He is Volta Regional Minister. Mr. Gunu, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Yes, I was trying to find out, beyond the EPA, beyond the EPA and the FDA, which other institutions are you hoping to get reports from?
These two, because so far we have received reports from the Community Water and Sanitation Agency and the Fisheries Commission. If we receive a report from the EPA and then the Food and Drugs Authorities, I think that will be enough for us to be sure that the water is safe.
Okay, so is that by extension to say that by close of this week, by the start of next week, there should be some final resolution to this matter in terms of the adequacy of the use of the water and protection of the citizens there?
Definitely. Definitely.
Right. We're grateful for your time on this. But before you take leave of us, Mr. Gunu, I want to sneak in, because it falls within your jurisdiction, the Sokode Senior High Technical School, which has been closed down because of the clashes between some students and also members of the community. What briefing do you have on that matter so far?
Thank you very much once again. I was there with the Regional Director of Education, the Regional Police Commander. After the incident, we did some initial assessment and we've realized that there's a need for the school to be closed temporarily.
Right.
So the Regional Security Council took the decision and advised the GS accordingly, and they have complied so far. So yesterday, the students were asked to go home. The Regional Coordinating Council, in collaboration with the school authorities and the GS, facilitated their movement back home.
Right.
About 22 persons who were injured as a result of this incident were all treated in the various hospitals and discharged. This includes 19 students, 8 girls, 11 boys. And then we have 2 persons from the community and then 1 journalist. They were all treated and discharged, and calm has been restored to the school. Everything is normal now. I'm also told that the school is supposed to vacate this week. So it's an early vacation that has been given to them as a result of the incident that happened. We have also advised the GS to constitute a team to investigate the matter so that I come out with the appropriate recommendations that will be implemented so that in the future we do not have this kind of situation. We want teaching and learning to be done in a peaceful and secure environment.
Now, as we have it per a teacher's account, a teacher at the senior High and Technical Institute, or the school, he makes mention of the fact that some notorious students went into the township and unfortunately engaged or agitated members of the community, injuring somebody, and then there was a reprisal. Is that the same account you have so far as this incident is concerned?
We want the investigation to go on and come out the report, and then we take it from there. For now, I think the informations that are coming, the investigators, this committee including the police as well. So we are still gathering information that led to this particular incident.
I have seen pictures of you with some of those who were injured and all of that. What has been the engagement, though, with the members of the community there?
Yeah, actually, I visited the community and made them aware that they must own the school. The school belongs to them. And the children who are in the school are their own children. So they need to have that kind of good relationship with the school so that we do not have this kind of situation. It doesn't speak well of the community or the school. So I think for now, they've all gotten that understanding, and let's do the committee conduct its investigation and come out, and then we must also intensify the community school relationship. I met with the assembly member for the area yesterday. He's also going to be he's also on the committee,
right?
And they are going to do the right thing to ensure that if there is a need to punish some people, we need to do that. It will be based on the recommendations that will come after this investigation.
Which also implies if some, based on age, it's proven that they were engaged in any nefarious activity, there could be criminal prosecution as well, right?
Definitely.
Right. Just two quick questions for you on that matter. As chair of RegSec, how concerning is it for you that this incident has happened, and what going forward will be your push so that we do not see any of such activities or interactions, negative interactions, if I may put it that way?
Yeah, we need to adopt some early warning systems of some of these things, because some of these things do not just happen in a day. There might be some factors that might be seen at the early stages.
Okay.
You know, so when they see these things, quickly they need to report so that we nip these things in the bud. It's very important because we want to have peace and security of the region intact so that we can make Volta region the best destination for investment. And if schools and communities cannot coexist, it's not the best for us. So we will ensure going forward that school authorities, there is proper discipline in the schools and our communities. People cannot take the law into their own hands.
Right.
We need to enforce the law and punish where necessary. That we're going to do. So it's a major concern to us as RegSec, and as the chair of RegSec, I'm much concerned about this. So when I got the information quickly, I went there, and calm has been restored to the community and the school.
Mr. Gunu, please indulge me just quickly as I wrap the conversation. Two quick ones. How long is this closure of the school? You made the recommendation and the Education Directorate complied. How long is this closure going to last? And in addition to that, according to a teacher we interacted with, he made mention of the fact that students will not return to school until the next term, which means that this term's examinations cannot be held. How are the students going to be able to make up for this lost opportunity to assess them? So 2 questions. How long is this closure going to last? And the exam they missed, what is your interaction with the education system in terms of when they are going to be able to do it?
I think the safety of the student is more important than the exams they miss. So that is very critical to us. They need to be safe before they can write the exam. Some of them were traumatized. Psychologically, they need to prepare for the examination. So these and other factors, were considered by the Regional Security Council. That is where the decision was taken. Then going forward, we are studying the situation in the town. If the student, according to the authorities, they are supposed to vacate even this year. So when they come, when everything is normalized and they come back, they can write that particular examination and then continue with the academic exercise so that their future can also be prepared adequately. So we are going to balance the equation, the security of the children and their academic work is, something that we are going to balance and ensure that whilst we protect them, we ensure their safety. We're also mindful of their academic work.
All right. Well, thank you very much for engaging us this morning, Mr. Gunu. We're grateful for your time, and we wish you the very best as you seek to resolve all of these issues in the Volta region. That is the Regional Minister, James Gunu, who joined the conversation. But still staying on the subject of safety, the safety of our water, among others, not just in the Togi end, and we are talking about Agotime and other areas, but we have the Ghana Water Company Limited spokesperson here joining the conversation. He speaks for them. I'm talking about none other than Stanley Marty. Good morning, sir.
Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure having you. I think the very last time we had an interaction was it the Habitat Fair when we were at the Accra International Conference?
Yeah. And I think that after that we've spoken about Galamsey.
A number of times.
Yeah, a number of times.
But not physically like this. Okay, so it's good to be privileged to have you in the studio.
Thank you.
In terms of this issue, the spillage of agrochemicals and the aftermath, how problematic is it from your reading?
Yeah, thank you very much. The process for water treatment per our standards is such that it wouldn't pose any threat to us. So I'm saying this because on hourly basis we test at the raw water, and it's not because of this issue alone, but that is the standard operating procedure, that on the hourly basis we test the raw water, and at every stage of the treatment process you also test the water, so that if there's any anomaly or something that something untoward, we ensure that the production process is stopped entirely, and then we try to rectify all the challenges before we continue with production. So I'd want to assure the people, the Ghanaian people, I want to assure the people of the Volta region, and that currently it is no threat, and per our standard operating procedures, it shouldn't be any cause for worry.
So you're giving the water, a clean bill of health, if you like.
Yes,
so far.
Yes. I know, and there are so many ways that we are able to check the raw water as to its potency, or as to whether there's some strange chemicals or something in the system. even the fishes in the system, every morning, every time we check ashore, and even the death of one fish on shore is a cause for alarm. Okay, and like I said, we check on the quality on hourly basis. So
hourly basis.
Hourly basis, and their records.
Is this just for the Volta?
That is the standard operating procedure for all our treatment plants.
I see.
Okay, so that if there's anything that our treatment process cannot manage, the process is stopped immediately, and then we try to rectify the situation before we continue reproduction. You remember that in Adan last year when the spillage, this thing started, we had serious stability, and because of that, we couldn't produce at Adan. We are able to produce, let's say, Galamsey water in the western region. Why were we not able to produce polluted water from Adan? It's because of the nature of the treatment plant. Now, the treatment plant was built taking into consideration the raw water quality, which was studied over a long period of time. Okay, so that at the time, we had nothing like pollution above a certain level or turbidity above a certain level. So the treatment plant was designed in that way. Now, when the pollution or when turbidity went above that level, we needed to shut down the plant, and that caused the problem in Adan. So it's a standard operating procedure. And per every treatment plant that we have, and then every water source that we use, there are standard operating procedures. So there's no cause for alarm at all. Then immediately something different happens that will threaten the process, we just shut it down.
All right, which means you've been engaging on the back of this spillage of agrochemicals. You've been engaging. We've heard from the Fisheries Commission. They say they've tested the fish, and so far they are not unnecessarily agitated or stressed.
Yeah.
They seem to be okay. There's COAS, which has also given some approval pending other investigations. We've not heard from the EPA. We've not heard from
we are working
the
with
FDA.
all agencies, including the Standards Authority, Ghana Standards Authority, and so we don't have problem. And then the final water itself also is expected to meet a certain quality. For instance, it's supposed to meet the WHO and that of the Ghana Standards Authority standards for drinking water.
Right.
Now, as a company, we also have our standards, which is higher than that of the Ghana Standards Authority. And then the Standards Authority standards is also higher than that of WHO. So if you're able to meet our standards, then the water that flows out of the system meets the best of standards, so that there's no cause for alarm at all. So all Ghanaians should rest assured that we will not do anything untoward to ensure to see people suffer as a result of contamination of the river body. No, we won't do that. And bear in mind that those of us treating the water, okay, also consume the water.
Right.
So if we do the wrong thing, it affects us as well, and we wouldn't do that. Apart from us, we have relatives in the system.
Right.
But per our standards, there's no way that will happen. So Ghanaians should rest assured.
The danger, though, and I was discussing that with the regional minister, there are some who use untreated water for basic activities, some even for farming. It means you cannot vouch for such water, can you?
No, because ours is treated water, potable water.
Right.
Okay, so if you go to consume untreated water, then that's at your risk, and we do not have control over that one.
All right. Let's talk about your treatment processes. Are you still using polymers to treat our water?
Yes. Polymers is a high standard of our normal alum that we use. It belongs to the same compounds, okay? But then it's of a higher standard and more expensive. And so with the Galamsey water...
Much more expensive.
Much more expensive, about 4 times more expensive than that of alum. And if you look at the Galamsey water, at the time that we started using polymers, we experienced some agitations in the system, such that the alum wasn't able to meet the standards very well. So there was the need for us to move into the polymers, and that is what we are currently using. We are hoping that turbidity will improve as we see now, let's say, in the central and western regions. And if that is to continue...
Turbidity has improved in the central and western.
As at last Friday, we had 2,000 NTU, and from like 15,000 down to 9,000, and now we are around 2,000. So if we are able to go down into the hundreds and into the tens, we may have to resort back to the alum, which is cheaper. And that will also impact positively on the tariff. Because the cost of production is high, then it will affect the tariff. But if it is low, it will also impact positively on the tariff, for the tariffs to come down. And that is why we keep urging Ghanaians that let the fight be ours. Everybody should be part of the fight against the pollution of our river bodies. If it so happens, we'll all will benefit, other than a few recalcitrant individuals who are only thinking of their stomachs and pockets.
2 quick questions. So I don't know whether you have any idea what is accounting for this reduction in the NTU levels, but also even before you get to that, can you walk us through again the central and western regions? You say they've fallen from about what rate NTU
around
to about
15,000 NTU.
Around 15,000.
In November, December, we issued a release.
That's
saying
2024.
that turbidity was around 15,000. Okay, so we had to work on that. Government also got involved. It reduced to around 10,000. And now, as I speak, as at last Friday, it was around 2,000. I'm yet to get the report for this morning. Then I'll be able to tell whether it's going down further. But we are also seeing rains upstream, and that could also be part of it. And then a government directive on the seizure of alluvial mining.
I see. Why I had you repeat that, because it's interesting. It then shows that if we are a bit more committed to this fight, a whole lot can be done. If in November, December, we're looking at 15,000 NTU, which is mind-boggling, and in February, getting to the end of February, we're looking at about 2,000 NTU. It means if we put in a lot more action, we can win this battle.
And that is what we've been saying every time. And that is why anytime there's a change, we want the whole public to know that there's been a change. And we're excited about it. So let's continue with that action so that we'll still come down. But unfortunately, it's always short-lived. So it affects all of us. If this is to continue, you will see a dramatic or drastic change in our tariffs. Now we are entering into a new tariff regime this year. And so all these things will be worked on. If, for instance, cost of production is low and expected to be low or projected to be low in the next year or two, definitely it will impact on the tariff. Now we also have the quarterly adjustment review, such that every quarter they will look at all the parameters. And then if it impacts positively, why not? And I also pay water bill. So if the bill comes down, I'll be excited about it.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm sure the PURC will comply when all those changes
are
brought to bear.
So far they've worked very well, and we are happy with the work that they are doing.
Right.
So you realize that in recent times we don't have much grudges.
You don't have many grudges to deal with. But just staying on that position, so central and western regions showing some positive outlook when it comes to turbidity levels.
Yes.
But generally, are they the standalone ones?
And now the production is also increasing. So central region now is fine. Almost every part of central region, with the exception of Befi Chrome, because the water level is low. But Secheheman is producing at full capacity. Brimso is producing at full capacity. And it's also impacting on Daboase. The bus is also producing at full capacity. Now we expect early rains. The dry season really disturbed that in December and January. We are seeing some signs, even in Accra. We are hoping that it will rain upstream. Rains in Accra do not impact on our river bodies, but rains upstream impact on our water bodies, and then it favors us. So we are seeing positive signs. If it's to continue, then we should see much more improvement. The other challenge will be, let's say, our distribution. We have some old equipment and all that. We are doing everything possible to ensure that we change some of these things. They are capital intensive, so it's a bit difficult to do it on our own. But we are managing. We are using our internally generated funds to do some of these jobs. And it's been positive so far. We hope that this year is going to continue like that. Now, if you look at Accra, there's a huge gap between demand and supply, especially because of urbanization and growth in population and the development around and all that. So what we are looking at now is to ensure that there's expansion of the Pong treatment plant and that of the Wager treatment plant. So we're able to bridge the gap between demand and supply. This cell is not functioning as expected. It is functioning, but not as we expect, considering the age of the plant. Okay, but we are still working closely with the operators to ensure that it also produces at optimum, so that we can have a stable system. Yeah.
So I was asking for a general picture. There are some standalone positives, Central Western region, among others. Which are the worst affected areas still, currently, when it comes to turbidity levels?
I think the Eastern region is still facing some challenges. But we are hoping that the directive by the president and then the actions being taken will also help in that vein. Apart from that, I think we are seeing some improvement, and we are still monitoring. Okay, so we hope that things will go well, and anything that happens, we wouldn't hesitate at all to inform the public.
Let me briefly go back to the issue of using polymers, which, of course, like you said, we all want that to change because then it also impacts our pockets positively. Is it sustainable?
Yes and no. Yes, because if we are still using it, then the tariff will be as it is or could go higher. Okay, which means that then we can have some money to still be buying them. And then no, because if pollution or the raw water quality is still bad, okay, but tariffs go down, then it won't be sustainable because then we wouldn't be able to buy the chemicals. Okay, so it is for all of us, okay, to take a position. Do we want lower tariffs or we want higher tariffs? If we want lower tariffs, then it means we all have to help in the fight against pollution of our river bodies. You will realize that since we started this program, I hardly mentioned galamsey. Okay, so that it is not galamsey alone that pollutes our river bodies. All our actions within our communities impact on our rivers. Okay, so that if we're able to cease pollution, the raw water quality will improve. And then we wouldn't have to use expensive chemicals and high volumes of the chemicals to make production expensive. So that is the scenario. And we all need to think through. In our own small ways, we can do something. Okay, if you live in a compound house and it's about raining and somebody picks rubbish and straight to the drains, you should stop the person. Because all the rubbish will end up in a river body. And it's not only in Accra, but throughout the country. Okay, so every action of ours impacts on the river bodies and then definitely pollutes our river bodies. And that affects Ghana water.
Now that we're talking about all of this, galamsey is our reality for now, and we have to deal with it on the back of the president's directive, among others. But the issue of polymers, I'll go back to this question. I know it's a tricky one for you, but the water we consume, usually when you fetch and you leave it for a while, you would see some sediment at the bottom of it over time. It's whitish and all of that. Some say it is the chemicals that are used. I mean, it wouldn't be new because I remember even in decades ago, you would still see some sediment at the bottom of the water. What is that?
Okay, so the sediments that we see, it's not from our treatment plant.
Okay.
The sediments could be the receptacle in which you store your water. Okay. Now, most of us now are using reservoirs because we are unable to meet the demand. So people store water. Now, there are people who have never in the life of their reservoir cleaned it.
Right.
You understand? You are supposed to be cleaning all receptacles at least once every quarter. Okay? So if you don't do that, and let's say water hasn't flowed for a day or two, so the levels are down. When water starts flowing into the tank again, it will agitate the dirt beneath it, which settles. Okay, so then definitely it will flow into your lines. And so there is no way per our treatment process for particles to leave our treatment plant.
So there's no natural sediments that will come from water produced by the GWCL?
So this is the first scenario that I've given.
Okay, all right.
The other scenario may also be as a result of some old pipelines, which I admit to.
Okay.
Now, with the old gorgeous Beck pipelines that we've had, the ductile iron pipes that have encrusted and all that, there's the possibility of the water washing some of the debris into our homes, which we are doing everything possible to work on. So we are using our own funds to change some of the old some of the old pipelines within the system, and that will stop that. So that is another bit of it. Now, the other aspect is the cloudy nature of the water sometimes when we fetch water directly from our lines. And that one is positive. It is positive because the cloudiness is the cloudiness of the water is as a result of the post-chlorination that we do. So we have a water quality assurance department that moves through our communities on a daily basis, and we have strategic locations where we still introduce some chemicals into the system to take care of some sediments that may have seeped through the lines. So when we fetch the water, we realize that it is cloudy, and seconds after it fades off. Okay, and so it is safe for consumption. Sometimes you are able to smell the scent of chlorine. It's a result of the post-chlorination that we do within the system. So there's no problem to that effect. Now, sometimes when we repair best within the communities, obviously because our lines are buried, some debris will seep through the lines, and then when we open the taps, it will flow into our homes. So sometimes you open your tap and you see dirty water that will flow for about between 5 and 10 seconds. When it so happens, the water that flows is clear and cloudy. The cloudiness is a result of the cleaning of the lines or flushing of the lines after the repair of the lines. And then when that dirt flows for about 10-15 seconds, the water becomes clean and safe for consumption. So we shouldn't be agitated or we shouldn't be worried when we see some of these things. Because we also do post-chlorination and some chemical processes, sometimes even while the water is flowing, there's some chemical reactions going on, which is not harmful to your body. Okay, so yeah, it's not harmful. You understand? So when the water is fetched into a container and those things settle, it is still safe for consumption, unless, of course, it is not as a result of what we have done. Maybe some form of pollution as well could also be. Now, you also realize that people have done a lot of illegal connection. And when they're doing illegal connection, they use non-professionals. So since the lines are buried, if you do not do it well, definitely there'll be some seepages. People lay pipelines in drains and all that. And those ones are not healthy. So if there's a burst, you may not know. Or if there's maybe some filtration on the line, you may not know. And obviously, the dirty water could seep through the line. So that may not be from Ghana Water, but the human activities that go on within our communities. And that is why we also urge everybody that if somebody is doing an illegal connection, don't assume that you are not affected. You are affected in one way or the other. So you need to stop the person. You can use citizens' arrest to stop the person or call the nearest Ghana Water Company Limited and ensure that that is not done. Let's use professionals in doing that. And the professionals are Ghana Water Company staff.
I see. Let's talk about the safety of drinking raw water as processed by the Ghana Water Company Limited. I remember how the former Minister for Lands and Natural Resources famously said at a point that he drank, tap water every day, and there was an uproar on the back of that. Are you saying that it is perfectly safe? There are two issues, and I'm reflecting what people tell me, which I'm going to ask you. The chlorination you speak of, the cloudiness and all of that. Some people feel, okay, that's a lot of chlorine in there. What is the impact on our bodies? And then again, galamsey and the presence of heavy metals. Are you saying that with all of this, water that you produce, once there are no side issues, perforations, or illegal connections, are safe for drinking without any processing?
Yeah. So let me take them one after the other. Okay. And yes, what the Lands Minister said is true. And anytime, I said that all the time. If you come to my home, I'll serve you tap water because I drink tap water. Okay, I drink tap water every day.
Without any
no filtration, no
filtration
nothing.
or
No
anything.
filtration, no nothing. I just ensure that my tank is cleaned on a regular basis. Let's say once every quarter, or let's say half a year. I try to do it out 2-3 times in a year. So I drink directly from the tap, and there are no challenge.
Stanley Marty drinks tap water.
Yes, and take it from me. And anybody who has been to my home will tell you that maybe when you get visitors, especially foreign visitors, or you get other visitors, you want to serve them bottled water and all that. But I drink directly from the tap. My family drinks directly from the tap. And it is safe for consumption. And indeed, surveys from CSIR, okay, tap water, okay, benchmarked with other packaged water. Tap water is always the best.
Really?
But the water that flows is always fresh. If you fetch water directly from the tap, it means that it is fresh because we keep producing, or production is 24/7, non-stop. Okay, and we don't store the water before serving people. Even when we store, let's say in our huge reservoirs, it is for us. It just is to enable us distribute the water, but not storing the water for days. Okay. You understand? So water that comes directly from the tap is fresh. Okay, compared to packaged water that may have lived on the shelf for a while before you consuming it. So check on the website for the CSR, and you realize that every annual survey on water, okay, tap water is the best. Okay, yes, and the West is the sachet water.
The West is the sachet.
That's sachet water. Because even the production process, you can vouch.
Some of them you can't vouch for them. And then again, you talk about it's being carried, being exposed to the sun, and what that does.
Yes,
and
we know the plastic that is used in the packaging. When the sun, when it comes into contact with the sun, there's some emissions that contaminates the water and all that. Sometimes we assume that these things are nothing and we just consume them. But science tells us that they have long-term impact on us.
I mean, I'm fully aware of the point you made, but just a quick question. Yes, you talk about how fresh the water is when it comes through the taps, but a lot of them also source water from you. There are those who may want to use, underground sources and all that, but some of them source from you and process further. So,
in fact, 95%.
If they do, how come your water is better than theirs?
So 95% or even more, okay, source from us. But the process, okay, for instance, Ghana Water has a subsidiary where we produce bottled water, packaged water as well. Now we go through stringent processes, okay, including using some reverse osmosis membranes and all that. And then I've even forgotten the process. I mean, the process to which we take the water through, okay? And our water is also close to the source. Our plant is at Bong, so directly, I mean, the treatment and everything is directly from its source. Okay, so our packaged water, okay, as compared to the others,
the G water?
G water. Right. It's also far better than the others. Now, I'm saying so because of the processes that some of them go through. Now, for instance, most people who use, who produce the sachet water, now what are the processes? Some of them just filter them. They do not have well ventilated
production
areas and all that. And do they use the right materials? How often do they clean their filters? Are they even filtering? Now, those who are involved in their production, how do they manage that? Some time ago, we went on our own to do some survey, looked at some of these. Some people were producing in garages. And some people were using foam, ordinary foam, to filter the water. Now, sometimes you see even the dirt that's accumulated in the foam, but then they use that rather in filtering the water. And what do you expect when that happens? So we expect that their association will monitor their members, and those who are not members must also be monitored by, let's say, Ghana Food and Drugs Board and the Standards Authority and all that. So some of these things will be stopped and all that. So I can't vouch for those ones. Okay, so instead of adding value to our water before package, the belief is that they rather devalue the water or in some case contaminate the water before bagging. And then look at the way it is transported on the street. You see these tricycles and they overload them. Sometimes they fall on the street and they put them back into the system, also into the bikes, and then deliver them. They are not consumed immediately. Some could be on the shelves for weeks before they are consumed and all that. And because of that, you can't compare that to tap water, which is fresh, okay, treated, and same day is flowing through your water. No water in your tap will be is more than 24 hours old, except if you are storing water in your tank. But if you're fetching directly from the tap, then it is less than 24 hours old.
Right. Let's look at the second component when it comes to the impact of illegal mining, and I'm talking about heavy metal components. You mentioned that for the G water, and that was the very next point I was about to get to. You use some level of reverse osmosis, which is probably the safest way of treating water. Is that, if things remain as they are in terms of turbidity levels and all of that, or they get worse, God willing they don't, is that the next step, looking at the cost factor versus safety issues?
Now, if you look at the way the membranes are, if you have to use membranes to, let's say, treat galamsey water, it means every hour you have to be changing your membranes. Because galamsey water is made of sand and stone particles. Okay? And then the membranes are very, very tiny.
Sensitive?
Yeah, very, very. Such that you may have, even with our pumps, okay? If you look at our sumps and then the way our abstraction process is, almost instead of, let's say, servicing our pumps like once in a month, we've had to do it like once in a week or sometimes less, okay? Because the sumps are filled with sand particles and it affects the pumps.
Right.
Okay, now we can't compromise on the safety of our pumps. So what we do is we need to service these pumps as regularly as we can, and it affects our downtimes. Because instead of just shutting down or putting off a plant for, let's say, 24 hours in 30 days, okay, we have had to do it 24 hours in 7 days. And it affects the pressures in the lines. It affects our downtimes. It affects us. Sometimes, instead of 24 hours, it goes to 48 hours because we need to remove almost everything, wash them clean, and then we'll fix them back. And then after every 7 days or after every 6 days, or depending on the turbidity of the water, and then the sand particles in the sumps, we've had to stop them and then service them. Now, the moment,
which also means cost, right?
Yes, yes. And the moment you fail in that, the pumps break down. There's been times where we have serviced a pump and in less than a week, all 3 pumps have broken down. For instance, in Secheman, somewhere 2-3 years ago, and we were there with our minister, and it was shocking. I mean, 3 new pumps that have been fitted, they've been working for a few months, and then serviced at a particular time, and in less than a week, they all broke down because of the high turbidity of the water. Stone particles and other particles seeping through the pumps and breaking down the shafts and all that. And it's expensive to put them back on board. I mean, repairing them is quite expensive. Okay, so, we are just producing, not even breaking even. We are not making any profit. We are not even breaking even, because if you look at cost of production,
they're not breaking even.
We are not.
I mean,
we are not. Sometimes the tariff is such
any
that
business, even the charity ones, they want to at least break even, so they are not doing it for profit. If you are falling below breaking even, it means that's a disastrous situation.
And then that is the challenge that we have with our tariffs every time. Okay, so that they give you a tariff, give you projected revenues and all that. Okay, but then the system is such that even the projections do not work because, for instance, you project that we are going to have stability between 3,000 and 6,000. As a result, you are going to use a certain quantity of chemicals. And then now it shoots up to, let's say, 15,000. It affects the tariff. Now your downtimes, you projected downtime of, let's say, 48 hours within 30 days. And now we are doing 48 hours every 7 days. Obviously, it's going to affect so your revenue target per your tariffs is supposed to be a certain figure, but because cost of production keeps increasing, now you go below it. So how do you break even?
And that also brings me to, I was curious because twice in this conversation, at least twice, you've mentioned that you've done some things with your own internal funds, IGF, basically.
Yes.
What things are you having to do with your own funds instead of getting maybe support? And what does that mean to the sustainability of the Ghana Water Company Limited?
So last 2 years, we changed all pumps in our thermal booster station. Now one pump is close to about €5 million, and we changed 4 pumps.
20 million euros.
So you can imagine. Now we are changing some of these pumps. Now if you go to Wager, our abstraction point, we've changed 4 new pumps, 3 new out of the 4 pumps. You know, in November, we're facing some challenges within the western part of Accra. So we have had to change the pumps in Wager. So we changed 3 out of 4, same cost. Okay, and it is not only in Accra, but throughout the regions, we are facing similar challenges. Recently, the challenge in the Volta region, in Peve, okay, we've ordered for 3 new pumps, which we're expecting somewhere in April. So all these things come on board. And if you don't, because that pump, that treatment plant was built somewhere it's about 31 years old, okay? And then here we are. I mean, pumps that have been working for 31 years old. What do we expect? We've even managed it to this point because of our standard operating procedures, because of our in-house procedures for maintenance and all that. If it hadn't been for the stringent maintenance of our systems, that pump should have broken down long ago. So we ordered for new ones, and all these ones are coming from our internally generated funds. Now there are stretches, like with the long stretches of pipelines that we are changing, okay, and it's all coming from the little money that we are collecting. So seriously, we are owing a lot of industries that produce for us. Okay, so what we do is, because we collect revenue on daily basis, the little that comes in, you pay somebody small, and then they supply, you pay this one small, sometimes they supply, and it takes, let's say, sometimes 6 months to even pay our supplies and all that. So, and seriously, let me also say this, that if it hadn't been for the prudent management of the Ghana Water Company Limited, I don't know what would have been our situation currently. You understand? So there's a strong team working. We motivate each other to ensure that the system runs all the time. So you see us looking comfortable, but we do not sleep. We do not sleep. Okay, everything about us is water, and we just do everything possible to ensure that the people of Ghana get good drinking water at a very good cost. Thanks to PULC.
So 2 quick questions on the back of the many points you've made. That means that with some of these problems, downtime issues, having to deal with your pumps and all of that, and payment of vendors and all that, it also impacts the days of flow, because you realize that in some places you are getting water twice a week. If you miss out, that's it. Which is why people are forced to store water. And some places, sometimes it can even be once a week. But there are other areas too where it flows a lot more. It means all of this is impacting that, right?
Yes, seriously. Yeah.
And what can the current government do to bolster the work of the Ghana Water Company Limited? What can be done? Is it at the managerial level? Is it logistics? Is it money? I mean, what can be done?
Everything. Everything. So now, if you look at, let's take Accra for instance, to enable us to bridge the gap between demand and supply, extend pipelines to all areas. We need to expand the main 2 treatment plants. Now, fortunately, in 2015, when we commissioned the China Jesuba plant, the new plant in Bong, we made provision for a second phase. So now, if the second phase is to come on board, then we can inject about 80 million gallons of water into the system. Now, there are also plans to expand Weja. If we are also able to do that, then it means that we can inject more water into the system to serve the western part of Accra, including parts of the central region. Now, we have another treatment plant in Kwenyaku in the central region around the Swedro area. If we are also able to expand that one, then we can also inject more water in the system from that enclave. Now, we also have plans for Aveyime area. If you are able to bring that treatment plant on board, it means you can have more water injected from the Adan enclave getting into the Tama area. And you know that area has also been slated for an industrial zone. So they can also serve the industries that are there. And then the industries can even be comfortable to site themselves there, because then there'll be water. So the plans are there. And we have a new managing director now, the person of Honorable Adams with our Wakil. And with our preliminary discussions that we've had, he has that positive mind. He has a message from the president, and then at least we will hope to see the expansion or the projects that I've spoken about come on board within the next few years, and then Accra will be safe. Thankfully, we have Interplast, Duraplast, and other industries that are producing the pipelines here in Ghana. So if we are putting up the treatment plants to get supplies from these industries to extend water, will also not be a challenge. So it has to be done and done holistically. If you are putting up more treatment plants, then we can extend the pipelines. But without treatment plants, the more extensions we do, the more the challenges we create for ourselves. Because the water is not available, we extend the pipelines, and then people expect to have water. If I see a pipeline in front of my house, or if I connect to the GWCL line, I expect to have water. Right. If I connect and water is not flowing, what do you do? Right. So we need a holistic approach to the whole thing, and that is what I see in our preliminary discussions that we've had with the new managing director. And there's a solid team that he's working with, and I'm proud of the team that Ghana Water Company, Ghana Water Limited has, that we are prepared to support him, we are prepared to support government so that we'll be able to meet the SDG goals and even the government's agenda for water for all by the year 2030. We as a company also have our vision to be a world-class leader, and then in the water industry, and then to leave no one behind.
Leave no one behind.
Yeah.
And of course, water, which brings to mind, I remember sometime last year, I was using the eastern region, heading somewhere, and I saw something that just got me thinking, the things we take for granted. It was some underwater, you know, these underground, I don't know, it's not a sewer, but it's more like, it's not basically a place where you would fetch water, but I saw a congregation, a number of people there, you know, in some of these communities in the Epiapim area, with headpans and all that, fetching water from, this was what they were going to use for their domestic activities. And, you know, leaving no one behind brings to mind such situations. Sometimes we sit in Accra and think, Accra is Ghana. Accra is not Ghana.
Yeah, what you're saying is true. Now, all our valves have chambers. So sometimes when the valves are faulty, water gushes out and then they fill the chamber. Right. So if people lack water within the vicinity, obviously they'll go to fetch, and it's okay for consumption, except that it's unauthorized and it's not the best. Now, apart from that,
but is it hygienic? Because sometimes you look at other articulates and others that could be.
Our chambers are clean, or are expected to be clean.
Right.
So if they are not clean at the time that you go to fetch, then you fetch at your own risk. So the other aspect is also, apart from we have also air valves. Now, anytime we are pumping water into an area, especially after some shutdown, okay, the air bubbles fill in the pipelines, and we need to get them out, or else they won't allow the water to flow through the pipeline. So we have air valves as well. So sometimes when we open the air valves for the air to come out and water to flow, water comes out of the air valves and fills the chambers. And so occasionally people go to fetch. And like I say, there are two ways. If the chamber is already clean, because it is expected to be clean, and we clean them regularly. So if it is clean and you are fetching, then we are okay. But if it is not clean at the time and you fetch, then you fetch at your own risk because it's unauthorized.
I think I have two more questions for you, and then we can call it a conversation on water and beyond. There's been talk about some level of privatization for, electricity, the ECG, among others. Some people feel that is what will bring efficiency, effectiveness to it. It brings to mind, the 1980s and even under Rawlings, some of what took place. It also brings to mind aquavitens and everything that has happened in the past. What is your take on semi-privatization at any level? Because on the other hand, there are those who will tell you this is a national security issue. Electricity, water, you play with it. What is your position on that?
Okay, so like you rightly said, privatization is in so many ways. So many ways. So we need to look at the one that best fits our society and our community and our country. Okay, so for instance, we have the desalination plant, okay, where they produce the water. It's a BOOT arrangement, build, own, operate, and transfer after 25 years. So it's another form of privatization. Now they sell the water to us, they sell bulk water to the Ghana Water Company Limited, and then we do the distribution. Now, we've had some challenges with the way the contract is, but we are getting water from them. Okay, so assuming we can go into privatization and have some of these arrangements, okay, that will also augur well. And it shouldn't just be in Accra, it shouldn't just be desalination plants, but then quite recently we tried working on one with a company from Belgium so that they could produce water from the Akuse area. But the contract was such that it wasn't favorable to the people of Ghana. Okay, and as a company responsible for water, we wouldn't want to burden the people of Ghana just because we need water. Posterity will judge us if we fail in that. So we are still in that negotiation. It's been quite a while, and it's been so because we are not comfortable with the contract. Aquavitens was another form of privatization as well, and I worked directly with Aquavitens at the time. Now, Aquavitens also brought on board certain things. Maybe they may not have met all their targets as expected, but they left us a legacy, which even as I speak, it has helped us in a certain way. And that was also as a result of the way the contract was carved. So we need to put all these things in place effectively. And why not? It will be good for all of us. But if it will not augur well for the people of Ghana, and trust me, with the expertise that we have, we wouldn't fall prey to that again.
And I had to bring that in on the back of the cost and other challenges that we've made mention of copiously here. Of course, if you can get some synergy, some joint venture going on, which will help all of us, why not? Just finally, Mr. Mate, what is the plan of the Ghana Water Company Limited for 2025? Here we are, New Year.
Okay, so now we have a new managing director, like I mentioned a few minutes ago, and we've had preliminary meetings with him. We are getting him acquainted into the system. We are taking him around, and then to see the challenges that we face at first hand. Now we need to juxtapose his vision and then that of the vision of the president with that of the development plans of the Ghana Water Company Limited, and then we see the right direction to take. He's somebody who listens, and we all know that we have a president who also listens. I believe that they wouldn't just come with the political, let's say, bullying, but we are going to all see sense.
Did he just say political bullying?
Or sometimes it happens. I mean, maybe I wouldn't, maybe I'd used it wrongly, but that is it. I mean, if they are development, we are experts. As a company, we are experts. We've been in the system for a very long time. Okay, so if you listen to us, okay, and see the sense in what we are saying, vis-a-vis your vision that you come with, I'm sure we'll all succeed. But if you come on board and you wouldn't listen to us and you just want the political bit of it, then that is where the challenge is. And that is where I'll call the political bullying. It's a word that just came, and I think that is how it sounds, and that is how it looks sometimes. But then there should be that collaboration between the existing development plans and then the vision of the political elite. When that is synchronized, okay, then we can have the best way forward. And that is what we are looking up to. And so far, having been with the new managing director, and like I said, his message from the president, and then the vision that they have for the country, I'm sure we should see some positive signs within the next few months.
Salimate, Yadase, Akbe, Nagode.
Yeah.
We're grateful that you took the time to...
If you're gone from Teshi, the holy village, I'm a proud man from Teshi. And we say Oyuadon, and then I will say Shidabe. And so all thanks and glory to our Maker. Yeah.
Thank you so much for enriching the conversation. Of course, that is Stanley Mate, and he is communications manager for the Ghana Water Company Limited. But let me tell you a bit about Solar Made Ghana before we take a breather. You can select from our various solar packages ranging from 30,000 cedis to 99,000 cedis. And all our solar systems come with lithium-ion batteries, so you can get a solar water heater, a solar home system, a solar powered station, or a solar generator ranging from 1,000 watts to 20,000 watts. We also sell reverse osmosis machines for water treatment. We've just been talking about water, right? Google Solar Made Ghana to find us on both Facebook and Instagram. And you can call us on 0508 320 470. Now, Solar Made Ghana is located at Adregano, East Legon. Solar Made, we go everywhere. But staying with talk about energy and water, let's talk water tanks. Do you know the secret to real water storage? It's simple. If your tank doesn't have the tortoise on it, then it's not the correct tank. That's right, the tortoise tank, Syntex tank, is the champion of water tanks. It is strong, durable, and built to handle our Ghanaian weather. Rain or shine, Syntex tank has your back. So my people, go outside, check your tank, and if it doesn't have a tortoise on it, it's time to upgrade. You know what I'm talking about. Syntex tank, family today, join that family and enjoy water storage that's tough like a tortoise. Call 0244 335 168 to buy now, or find one of our 400 agents nationwide. You can also shop online at syntexgh.com. Syntex tank, strong, tough, like Mr. Marty. Well, we'll be back after the breather with In the Trends. What's trending? You find out after the break. Do stay.
Good morning, trendsetters. You're welcome to Monday. My name is Derek Elom Ashilevy, and of course, I'm here with the ever beautiful
Jacqueline Ansma here, boy.
Of course, it's the segment of the AM show where we give you a scoop of what's hot, what's spicy, and what's sizzling on fire on social media, where we give you a wrap of all the stories making headlines on the timelines. Yeah, yes. Jackie.
I know. So, how was your weekend, by the way, before we kickstart?
I had a cool week. I mean, church and all of that. But are you excited to be on a Monday morning?
Of course, Mondays. You know, Mondays are not supposed to be boring.
Yep.
When we come here, it's definitely going to be different. Mondays should be different once we have In the Trends on the show this morning.
Great. So moving on to our first story is a story that I am particularly interested in. It's a story of Wezo TV versus GBC. It made waves in the course of the week, and it's a story about who really owns the broadcasting rights to the presidency. When President Mahama took over, it's almost as though every time President Mahama is speaking anywhere, we see it's amplified on his presidential Twitter pages and everywhere. Wezo TV. I mean, the inauguration was done by Wezo TV. National prayer, Wezo
Thanksgiving.
TV. Thanksgiving. Thank you, Togo. Everything, Wezo TV. People are concerned So let's see what the Gram has got to say on this particular issue. Jackie, take it away.
All right, so we're starting with our first comment from Mamiesi, and she says that Mahama's Instagram page is his page.
Yeah.
GBC can take the presidency of Ghana and Jubilee House. That part, I agree with you. But let me ask you, when state insurance was taken from SIC and given to enterprise, when state corporations as like NLA were taken and given to UTV, and despite media, did you have this sense, or it just came to you? I'm just wondering. Thanks.
Well, then, of course, if things have been in a certain way and now things are changing, it doesn't mean people cannot have opinions. People can have opinions. Yeah, Jack, take us to the next one.
All right, and MDK says that you should be happy that at least we always know where the president travels to. And Adudi, he sometimes travels out of the country for 2 days before we are made aware, mostly with no Ghanaian media house. It is GTV's own business to follow the president around. What do you want GM to do? I mean, on social media, everyone has their mind of their own, their perspective. Let's see other comments too. Nana Sufo says that you are absolutely right. This goes beyond just one government or Weasel TV. A state broadcaster losing its prominence in national coverage is a major issue. In many countries, public broadcasters like the BBC in UK, CBC Canada still play a central role in key national
Jackie, hold it right there. For this particular comment, I have an opinion. And of course, just so you know, we are TV guys. I work as a TV director, so we're very interested in this conversation.
Definitely.
So is the point about, I mean, if President Mahama is deciding to go with Weasel TV, is it a case of the girlfriend who stayed with us when we didn't have anything is the girl who chop when we make it? Because when he was vying for the presidency, we saw GTV do the main broadcast when MPP was launching their manifesto. When MPP was launching and revealing their flag bearer, it was GTV that did the coverage. Cool. So, I mean, other people are concerned about the fact that it could be a case of GTV or GBC, the state broadcaster, becoming quite partisan. And that's why
you know, when you started, I feel that Weasel TV, they sticked with Mahama during the campaign days and all that. Maybe he feels it's right that he should still be with them, but then Ghanaians are raising concerns on social media. But let me read this last comment too. This one says that Frank says that coverage of national events is not the preserve of GBC in an era of media pluralism. All major outlets have covered presidency the same. However, to set your mind at ease, GBC TV still broadcasts events from the presidency, but the production is done by Weasel.
So another concern people don't know, of course, about is the fact that most times Weasel TV, the projection we see Weasel TV, is only on the presidency's account, John Mahama's account. When you go to Ghana presidency,
it's not there.
It's not amplified.
And Jubilee House is not there.
It's not there.
It's only on Mahama's personal social media pages, which is his personal social media page.
He decides to do whatever he wants to, you know. I mean, that's a story that makes the trends. Let's see our next story. It's a story right behind me where a UCC student with disability who cannot sit and has been standing for, Jackie, I'm told how many years?
5 solid years.
5 years of standing?
Yes, 5 years of standing.
I
mean, I just want to get out of here. Wow. It's like less than 30 minutes and I'm struggling to be on my feet. So he has been standing for 5 good years.
And to his rescue is the owner of VIP, the buses with the inscription, Yesu Dia. I mean, the man saw it and felt like, no, this guy cannot be struggling this much. And so he decided to make a donation to him and his parents by giving him a brand new car to, of course, help him transport, go for lectures and all of that on campus. See the video, we'll bring your comments on that. Charlie, you know, I mean, this story is one that even when we're preparing, it really hits us to the core. Yeah. But of course, we are very excited and proud that somebody comes to his rescue.
Yeah.
By giving, what car is it? A Hyundai Tucson. That's a very cool car, you know.
He's a level 100 student, so
wow.
I mean, he's going to enjoy the rest of his 3 years on campus in that ride. But we hope he also gets intervention when it comes to his situation. So let's go to social media. And Fancy Girl says that goosebumps all over my body. This guy is an angel, miracle working God. I know you are working on him. He's healed in Jesus' name. Amen. Speaking into existence. Jennifer says that I'm even emotional.
Likewise.
Yes. And he has a very good voice too.
Yeah.
You couldn't bring that video, but he has a very, very good voice.
He's very handsome. He's a very handsome guy.
Yes, he is very handsome. Thierry Impo. I'm so fortunate. I'm so fortunate. Oh God, his smile alone is something else. God bless you, Zion and Ishan. Zion was the one who did the interview. And Eja, God richly bless you and your team. Love emojis here. Oh God, please intervene for him.
Of course, the Eja they're talking about is the owner. I mean, popularly known as Eja Riase. Of course, people say he's a very great guy. So thank you, sir. God bless you.
Definitely.
This story is one that I want you to give me all the juice I need to know. It's a story that has overcooked. Give me the juice, Jackie.
Well, Derek, so Gregory Afoko was granted bail after being on remand for nearly 10 years.
10 years?
Yes.
Wow.
And around 2015, the Upper East Regional Chairman of the NPP, he was ambushed. Then there was an acid attack. But unfortunately, he succumbed to the injuries and he died. But then right after he died, according to, investigations, the wife said that the man named Gregory Afoko and Asapke Alangdi as the prime suspects.
Wow.
And they have been on remand that's since 2015 till now.
Yeah.
And on Friday, the good news was that they've finally been granted bail, 500,000 Ghana cedis, and it was trending on social media. People were sharing their thoughts on this one. And what do you think about this? On remand, 10 solid years.
I think that
May would mark like exactly 10 years, but we're still in that same 10 years. Yeah.
I think it's even more like suffered for the crime even before the
I know, right?
Has been given.
Yeah, a lot of people were expressing it happened on Friday and it was trending throughout the weekend, Saturday and Sunday too. We have a quick explainer on that on all our joining social media handles. But let's see what social media is saying. Reggie Rockstone says that there's a lot of time lost in this man's life. Yo, 10 on remand. That's a bit. Bless him and freedom from the Most High Jah. Kojo says that, hey, just a suspect, just a suspect. Yeah. And Kiba says that 10 years without a verdict is a really long time.
Of course, it's because the political
issue. But there's been back and forth, on this issue. There's been a rearrest and all that. Wow. And Hassel Bunny says that he has been on remand for 10 years. Make it make sense. If he truly had a human rights lawyer, this wouldn't have happened. But sadly, it did. Atongo says that the guy has already served the punishment even before pronounced guilty or innocent.
Yeah, we want our viewers to know that, of course, the other guy, the other perpetrator, was sentenced to death, last year, because, of course, it was on the basis of alleged conspiracy to murder. Yeah. Moving on to our next story. Is a story that is almost funny. Like, Charlie, this right? You must watch your standard of living and watch your heart. Definitely. It must go in the same, And it's the story of an Okada rider who, in a road rage, road rage is, Charlie, a driver in a car and maybe somebody was driving carelessly. And per the story, the driver, which is a Mercedes-Benz, was driving a little careless. And you know how people can flip on the road and people throw insults, drivers hurl insults at each other. This time it wasn't just insults. By the time we realized, Charlie, the Okada guy vexed, he using hand hit the windscreen, boosh. He's broken the screen of the Mercedes-Benz. Charlie, Mercedes-Benz Okada rider. See the story, we'll bring you comments on there.
So the translation is that, of course, he says that car will be about careless and not patch a pan windscreen. I mean, if somebody has been driving carelessly, I mean, drivers sometimes miss it. Does that necessarily mean break his wind?
I mean, that was way out of it. There's some huge anger issues. So.
Yeah.
And it's going to cost him more than his motorbike.
More than his motorbike. And of course, he was picked by the police.
Yeah. That place, the police is all over. So let's see what social media is saying. Bryce Wilson says that this guy will be careful next time, even when breaking bread.
That's what I'm telling you, Charlie. Watch your lifestyle and watch your anger issues.
Definitely.
It should be parallel. It shouldn't reach a point where one is above the other. Jackie, run me through it.
And Jay says that this guy needs to be dealt with very well to serve as a deterrent. It's a regular thing they do. Wow. Dr. Nanake says that, how can you smash GLE's windscreen? Okada rider with pride. Waboka.
Okada rider with pride. Waboka. I mean, that's a very sad one. So guys, Charlie, check your patience meter when you're stepping out. We have the next story. It's the story, of course, an international story.
Yeah.
Where a Delta airplane moving from Minneapolis in the US to Toronto crashes. Well, crashes does not necessarily, explode.
Yeah, it didn't explode. Did it overturn?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It caught fire a bit, but thankfully, it's been snowing for some time in Canada. And so,
wait, I like your accent today.
Oh, really?
I don't know if you're doing the Canada style. The accent has changed.
You never know. I'm not Ghanaian, Yeah. And of course, this is almost like the first time we're seeing people survive airplane crashes.
Yeah.
This year where we've had
a lot.
Yeah.
We've had a lot. And I was even surprised. I was telling you that this is a year that we started off with a lot of plane crashes and all that. But then luckily, they all survived. And there's going to be a compensation for them.
And that's what boss my brain. $30,000 US each.
Yes.
How
something that is actually way too small.
Yeah.
For their life. You get it. They could have lost their lives.
Abroad is like systems work. So people, I know my rights. You should pay me $30,000. Bragana. When the driver makes a mistake, say, oh, most sorry, kafra, man.
That's the end of it.
That's it. Of course, let's see what social media has got to say on there.
All right, so starting with the first one, Faris Kallen says that flight attendant deserves a full pension, early retirement. She is the real hero. She was seen in the video helping them out. And Mr. Kenford says that I will no longer judge people who clap when the plane lands safely because it goes through a lot, turbulence and all that in the air. And also, Ginger Potter says that lost Canada version. The last comment here says, clearest recording of somebody living a plane crash I've ever seen. Blessed to be alive.
I sort of can relate to the gratitude bit. Because, in Ghana, of course, in Africa, when people are traveling, they don't even tell you. Because Charlie is spiritual.
We actually get there before we tell people that we are traveling.
Yeah, and yes, I will not come and tell you then. I will not end up not reaching my destination, And so, of course, we're excited that they made it. Another international story that is doing some logoligi or waves on social media is a story of Diddy Sean Combs, whose lawyer quits a few days to his trial. What at all could really be the issue? Jackie, what do you make of this?
Well, I've actually been following Diddy's story. Benjamin Akape will say that, Jackie, I wake up every day just reading on Diddy's story. And I think the lawyer is overwhelmed with the cases. Every day I wake up, there's another case. Every day there's another case. Why would you be tired? He's tired. So he wants to just leave it down. They started working with him last year, September. And since then, the cases, they've started to pile up. Every day there's a new lawsuit. And it's more than 60 lawsuits now.
Wow.
It's a lot. Anthony Rico says that he wants to stop anything concerning Diddy.
And this is on the flip side where we are seeing lawyer like A$AP Rocky's lawyer rather deciding that, hey, I'm with you to the end. And some people's lawyers are...
Please, A$AP's issue was very different. A$AP's issue was very different. That one was like a gun shooting and...
a one-off incident.
Yes, but his, oh my God.
Yeah.
Sex trafficking, racketeering, a lot. Yeah. That's a lot of charges. So Anthony Rico says that he no longer wants to proceed with this case, and he's got a lot of people on social media talking about this issue. So the first comment says that his lawyer had a moral moment and recognized this man didn't need to be defended. He needed to be put away for good. Interesting one. And this one also says, loss will Wilkins says that my man saw all the evidence and was like, bro, there ain't enough money in the world.
Wow.
Let's Play event says that it's probably a solid choice if you see the evidence mountain and you know you are going to lose big time, not to destroy your reputation trying to defend him.
You know, with everything that is happening, do you know who I'm really thinking about?
Who?
I'm thinking about what goes through the mind of Didi. Where, you know, almost like his world is... There are two people that I've been thinking about lately. I've been thinking about Drake and I've been thinking about Didi.
Wait, why are you thinking about Drake?
Because Charlie is like the greatest ever rebuttal in a diss song. He didn't just, you know how
he's
people
actually
have
released a new song, you know, called like something like Hug Me or something like, you know, he's trying to comfort himself and console himself with all that Kendrick did during the Super Bowl.
You know? Yes. And so on the flip side, I'm just imagining Didi. I mean, it's like your family members are even giving you away.
Yeah, there's a new documentary where his family members are finally talking about it. And he actually sued NBC for that documentary. Wow. It's a new documentary out there, very lengthy. Friends, family, everyone talking about how they knew Didi. And you know what? This same lawyer is the one who defended him when the baby oil issue thing came. He defended him saying why there's like loads of baby oil in his house. He defended him, but now he says that he can't do it anymore.
That makes me wonder how will he lubricate his way out of this particular
Derek.
Man, let's move on to our next story. And it's the story of course, last week was Mother Tongue Day.
That's Friday.
Last Friday, yeah. And we had our lawmakers, our MPs, taking to Parliament and making all their presentations in their native languages. See for yourself. We'll bring you comments on that.
Mr. Speaker, I thank you very much for your attention.
Mr. Speaker, menyo SSNTO tro nukejo. Mr. Speaker, nukejo na Ghana devio employment na sack nukejo tro. Mr. Speaker, tro
me ko dru hono no mo dwen se menti twi ana mo kasa menti ase omo si wo haruna obetime owrem ha munko tie yie na o haruna obetime owrem ayaresa bia see government Ebola body I carry, AIDS body I carry, look at my pay.
Yeah, and that's a story, you know.
Derek, I'm expecting you to also speak your language before.
Well, yeah, Nyankwenya Derek, Elo Mashelevi. What's your native language, though?
Your friend me, Jacqueline Ansama Yeboah.
Oh, okay. You know one of the most difficult things to do myself in tree?
Really?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe because I'm an Ever, you know. Even in Ever, Crashally, you know.
Benjamin will be also speaking his language before.
Oh, great.
Wrap up. So
to wrap up.
Let's see what social media is saying. So, Speaker understands all the languages.
Can you imagine? Yeah, because everybody's speaking.
It was a lot. I mean, this is just snippets of. It was a lot. They all spoke, the majority of them. And S.A.J. King says that you see why English is our official language for government business, because of clarity.
Yeah, I think for this one, it sort of makes
There was a lot of chaos. I mean, I was trying to get whatever thing there was. But it was beautiful to hear all of them say that.
But hold on that. What do you make of that? Should we do every transaction in our local language? You know, people keep saying we've amplified the white man's language. We are still colonized. Why are we still speaking in man, Charlie? I mean, bro, to mean you know.
Feel free.
Why are we still running everything in the white man's language?
You know, I just feel that personally this weekend I was in Volta region. I was at a funeral and they spoke throughout. I couldn't understand anything. For 3 hours, I was seated there. And I was listening to them. It was very beautiful, but I couldn't understand anything. Yeah. At that point, I just told myself that I wish I had understood whatever thing that they said. I couldn't understand any, like, basic things that they were saying. Yeah. They were laughing and all that, but I didn't understand anything.
So it makes sense there's one language that we can all transact in English. All right, run me through the others.
And the last one says that even with local languages, some MPs didn't talk.
Charlie.
Hey, you know some of the MPs, they go there and they don't talk.
Yeah, it's a big class, so some people have to keep...
Yeah, this one also says that, Bomeland says that this is beautiful. Genius also said that even on Mother Language Day, I still didn't see or hear my MP speak in Parliament. That man is something else. I didn't even hear my MP though.
You know.
I didn't.
Great. Of course, that's been in the trends with me, Derek Elo Mashilevi, and of course, I love to do it with this ever pretty. I like your blazer and your, you know, and the red and the red.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
It's been a chance with me, Derek Elamashile, with Jacqueline Asuma, Yaboa. We cross over to Benjamin Akapo, the guy whose head is big for a reason, because he's got a lot of wisdom to offer you. Ben, take it away.
Before he takes us away, your language,
Ben.
Give us that's an I can be trends because you're born out, but they are brain and you're
I got you, Gunu.
Maybe I'm free, no. My name is someone person make Dagbani and I'm in Kechi. Na Mecca. Yadamwase. Somebody are braying. Anyway, I think we should do more of that, though. Not just in Parliament, but maybe on the AM show as well. But that's in the trends for today, and we're about to leave you. But before we do so, let me celebrate a very happy birthday, Kelvin Kuku, a.k.a. the boys chairman. Who made you chairman? I don't know, but you're the chairman. Kelvin Kuku, a.k.a. the boys chairman, may your special day be filled with love, laughter, and unforgettable moments. That's from your dad, Bill Oklu. And of course, I want to talk about health right before we get out of here. And I'll tell you about Medicas Hospital, a modern healthcare facility built with your recovery in mind. They have spacious wards built with your family in mind, a warm and caring pediatric unit built with your children in mind. And in addition, they have assembled the brightest minds in medicine, led by Dr. Yosafo, the drive-time doctor, to serve you. So here's what they have on offer. General medical services as well as specialist services in plastic surgery, obstetrics, gynecology, child health, urology, psychiatry, and eye care. But there's more. They are also offering a comprehensive medical diagnostic service encompassing endoscopy, medical laboratory services, x-rays, and scans. And they have a 24-hour pharmacy, ensuring that you can get effective, efficacious medicine all the time. And they bring to you the most powerful medicine of all, simple human kindness and empathy. And they pride themselves on holding themselves to the highest attainable standards when it comes to medicine and healthcare. So all you have to do now, locate them. And also note that they accept private medical insurance. So if you're coming with private medical insurance, you're good to go. They accept all those payments. You can locate them at number 10 Kinto Street near the Ashale School Junction, or you can call them on 0501 477 344. Medicas Hospital, a place of healing. And that's how, hopefully, we've given you entertainment healing, political healing, current affairs healing on the show this morning. Aha, niede mu beja. Edamwasi bebre. Yeframe Benjamin Akakpo. Monchai na eja Joy News Desk and abetwaso. Edamwasi.